Feeling fresher than recent days today with good sunny spells and scattered blustery showers. Winds will be stronger up along west and northwest coasts. Top temperatures of 16 to 19 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
All right, it's 3 o'clock on Saturday, so we've got a busy studio. Dan McDonnell and Johnny Ward are here. How are we?
Hi, Nathan. How are you getting on?
Superstar co-commentator Johnny Ward. Generally down through the years, like you think of the great co-commentators, Andy Gray.
Andy Gray was not a great co-commentator.
I always liked Andy Gray as a co-commentator.
Andy Gray.
David Cleat, good co-commentator.
Great co-commentator. Brian Kerr.
Yes. Yeah. Very good.
The current king. Kevin Kilban. Tries his best.
Yeah. Pat Fenlon is absolutely excellent, I think.
Pat Fenlon,
very good. Yeah.
And now Johnny Ward, who brought his considerable playing experience to commentary of a record-breaking game last night. Bohemians,
UCD.
10-1 win over UCD. I can't believe I've only thought of this now. We don't actually have any Johnny on co-commentary.
Yeah.
I should have had a montage ready.
I was actually
Johnny on co.
Well, I actually got to listen.
Sorry,
to
he was just about to say I was actually very good. Let him make that sentence.
I was actually happy with my performance, so it's no surprise you don't have anything.
Were you? Yeah. Well, I actually only got 25 minutes of it, so there was just a goal. And Johnny was obviously, because Johnny's like a sort of a versatile. Sort of on a Friday night, there was long silences as you were updating your match report, and then he would just come in with a sort of basic comment.
8-20 in Dundalk.
Yeah, he'd just kind of go, good goal there, O'Sheen. Yeah,
another one. What's the score now?
Go for Bohs. You actually, to be honest, you were more disappointed with the record score than excited by it, and that would sort of be my take on the whole thing.
Not a good thing.
It was
not a good thing at all. I mean, listen, for people involved with Bohs, of course, it's a great night, and for the players, you got a hat-trick or 4 goals in Andre Wright's case, but this is supposed to be the highest level of football in this country. Like, this is Premier Division football, and if you have a team that's come up that's been gutted mid-season, that's a student team, so there's a sort of quirks about their existence. To me, it sounded fairly hollow anyway, but obviously people involved with Bohs would disagree.
You were alluding to my lack of experience. If I were playing on that UCD team tonight with you two on the team, I think we could have done a better job than they did. It was pathetic.
That's just not true, by the way, just to be clear.
Exaggeration. I'm not sure we could have done any worse than some of their players. I think it was.
But clearly their players are at a certain level that maybe going up against a good Premier Division team is unfortunately.
I saw Pat playing Bohs' effective under-19 team last season when it was one of it was Liam Buxey's. It was his last game, I think, or one of his.
It was
his
last game, yeah.
And when you're thinking of if you put out an underage, even an under-17 team or an under-19 team against Bohs last night, I can't envisage how anyone could do as badly. It was absolutely pathetic. It was like one of those bad movies where actors try to be football players.
Well, I think that's been a bit harsh.
It's a bit great.
It was.
But these are players who've been put into a level probably above themselves right now because, as Dan said, I saw UCD play Shamrock Rovers. We were at that game earlier in the season. I thought UCD, before they were gutted, you were looking at them that day going, how are they down bottom of the table?
Yeah.
So clearly taking away that amount of players.
There was a moment in the
issue.
Okay, they do have some quality players. There was a moment in the first half which I thought was absolutely absurd in the sense of UCD's stupidity on the pitch, where their midfielder Doyle, who looks actually a very good player, he was injured. He was clearly hobbling, and I was like, he's obviously they're going to kick the ball out of play. He received the ball, played a few passes to his teammates. They eventually lost the ball. And then he was still hobbling. And I was like, hang on a sec, are you injured or are you not? So he hobbled around the pitch for 2 or 3 minutes. Bohs forced a corner. He then went down injured for the corner. They didn't defend the corner at all. And basically Bohs got the second goal. And then he went off injured right afterwards. So he had 3 minutes to go off the pitch, clearly injured. They had the ball for about half a minute. They didn't kick it out of play. He didn't kick it out of play. And I'm just like, you wouldn't expect that at under 10 level.
Well, that's just naivety, John. That just sounds like naivety. I mean, I only did listen to this commentary, to be fair. Like, they are in the Premier Division on merit, so you can't sort of suddenly, after the event, suddenly ask questions. But there is a sort of a quirkiness about their existence that, a lot of players, their academic term sort of finished in the summer, their scholarship ended, and they basically had to let some players go. And
it's not a good thing for the league because UCD should be the model for what a lot of League of Ireland clubs are trying to do.
They had a very good generation of players last year, like probably their best crop since that very good team they had in 2009, which had sort of Robbie Benson, Andy Boyle, McMillan, you can name a couple of others. And I think you will talk in those terms about the likes of Gary O'Neill, Ferrugia, but they're all, Conor Cairns, the goalkeeper, was missing last night. The one thing, they did concede 11 goals to Portsmouth in a friendly a couple of weeks ago as well, so they do seem to have
what you're saying is
you could put a positive spin on the losing 10-1.
They need some work.
When the floodgates open, they open. I think the Bohs under-19 team won 9-0 today at Daily Mail.
If only there was an experienced centre-back out there who played Premier Division football but has also dabbled in the League of Ireland, who maybe could assist these young Irish footballers with a little bit of time in his hands. Only that person existed, Damien Delaney.
Yeah, I'm here, lads, just listening, don't worry.
You'd sign up for a course for 6 hours a week or something.
Yeah, just go back and become a student.
Yeah, not bad.
Live the life you missed out on.
God, lads, 10-1. Imagine waking up on a Saturday morning after being beaten 10-1. I've had some bad ones in my time, but 10-1's excessive, huh?
Well, I was thinking, if we're talking about having bad days against Bohemians, Damien.
That's a bit harsh.
You went right there.
He's literally just on the show.
Welcome on board, Damien.
He's half a minute.
It was an open goal.
Welcome on board, Damien. Welcome on board. The one thing you would say, it probably goes to show, a club like UCD, where they don't really have a fan base, I wonder would it have got to that extent at a club if you had a baying mob behind the goal, 5-6-0?
Actually, nobody cared is part of the problem.
Is that a slight thing that they don't have that?
I agree.
That sort of walk of shame afterwards, where people are sort of howling abuse in their direction or something, and maybe that can be a good side in terms of development and growing without pressure. But maybe if things are going bad, you sort of need that sense of responsibility or something that maybe isn't quite there.
I don't know about you guys how your week has been, but I know as I've been wandering the streets of Dublin, people have been coming up to me all the time saying, "Oh my God, I love your new competition." That when I hear the music, I just know something good has happened for Irish football.
They haven't heard it yet, though.
They haven't heard it yet. This is the problem. That's why we have to cut it short, just because it's already in people's minds.
It's like the national anthem for the president, just a small version.
And I don't know if it's going to happen today either. So if you hear that music, it means an Irish player scored. Text the name of the score and your name. We'll give you a prize. There's not that many Irish players playing at 3 o'clock today. Let's go to Villa Park, where Conor Hourihane is on the bench for Aston Villa. There's been a goal in this game. Tom Gale.
Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 1. It was from the penalty spot. It was a rush of blood from Villa goalkeeper Tom Heaton. He came out, he clattered into Callum Wilson. Joshua King, the Norwegian, stepped up to the penalty spot, sent the keeper the wrong way in front at the Holt end. It's Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 1.
Damien, it's only the second game of the season, but Conor Hourihane dropping out of the side with Douglas Luiz coming in. It does look, because they're at home, a very attacking Aston Villa team. They've a front three of El Ghazi, Trezeguet and Wesley, with John McGinn and Jack Grealish keeping their places. So maybe first game back in the Premier League, they're going all out and they're not playing the more controlling midfielder. But would you have any concerns for Conor Hourihane in that Villa team and getting his place back?
Before I answer that Bohemians comment has been noted. Yes, turn over the course of the next season. But no, listen. I think they obviously spent a lot of money on that boy from Manchester City, Luis. I know they have what's the other fellow? Marvelous. I think another central mid player. So I think his game time will be limited, which would mean when he does get a chance, he'll need to impress a hell of a lot when he does get on the pitch. Hopefully he'll get on at some point today and he can do something.
That is disappointing, there's no question, because Conor Hourihane was someone we were all looking forward to seeing, and the story is such a great story of how he worked his way back up through the ranks, and then you see Villa go out and spend 100 million quid, and not really in a Fulham way it felt. Well, they're certainly keen to distance themselves from what Fulham did last season, where it was pretty scattergun. They feel they've gone out and targeted certain players and brought in real quality. That Hourihane, if he's restricted to 20-30 minutes, having to make an impact off a set piece.
Yeah, I think it's something though that you probably would expect at a Premier League club. I mean, Damien's probably been through it, players coming in your position, and you think of, people like, I don't know, someone like Glenn Whelan, how many times did
Gianni Mbula.
How many times did Stoke bring on a player and all of a sudden you go back to the tried and trusted? And I think it probably is interesting with Hourihane this year that actually at times with Villa last year, look, we've seen him play for Ireland maybe in a positive, his good set pieces and, he was very involved against Georgia going forward. But sometimes in that Villa team last year, and I think I remember Keith Andrews speaking about this, that when they had McGinn and they had Grealish and they had quite an attacking team, that he almost had to modify his style and try and be a slightly more defensive player. But maybe that's not necessarily his natural style, and with Villa as a Premier League team, maybe he needs to find what his role in that midfield may be. As you mentioned, it's a very attacking side today, and we'll see, do they just feel that with McGinn and Grealish there that they need that Douglas Luiz is maybe the all-rounder that they need there. I don't know, that's the challenge he faces, but I think he will get chances. I think he's going to get plenty. It's not it's not a crisis territory. I'm more concerned about Jeff Hendrick not playing any minutes at all for Burnley than Hourihane starting, dropping out. I think he'll be in and out pretty much.
We do have a load of these midfielders that it's kind of hard to say what their actual role is for Ireland in terms of what is their main attribute as a player, because they've just been in a system where we just don't really play that much football, and I hope that James McCarthy will get a run now, because I think he's probably our most complete midfielder in terms of just doing the simple things and passing the ball well, and it was very encouraging that he kicked the ball a bit on Monday night. I think he got 20 minutes for the under-20.
That was 90 minutes.
He got 90 minutes rather.
Yeah.
And Mick McCarthy was encouraged. I think he watched the game with Roy Hodgson, and maybe Roy Hodgson is the guy to kind of encourage him back to regular football.
I guess we just don't know with James McCarthy anymore, Damien. From what you said of Roy Hodgson last week, it looks as though he's at the right club with the right manager in terms of trying to rebuild his confidence. He's played, a dozen Premier League games since Euro 2016? And everyone came home from Euro 2016 thinking this guy's going to be the linchpin of the Irish midfield for the next 6-7 years. Has he played for Ireland since then? A couple of minutes here and there, if even that.
5 games in 2 years period in terms of club football. So,
how long do you think it'll be before we see James McCarthy at his best?
I think he's got a massive mountain in front of him, because he's not getting any younger either. And if the stats are saying there are 5 games in 2 or 3 years, I mean, that's a lot of football to miss. That's going to be very, very difficult for him to get back on the bike at the pace that it's moving at and get up to speed quickly. As I said last week, being in the system that Crystal Palace will play in terms of the 2 centre midfield players will be very, very defensive orientated. I think that'll help him, because he won't be required to have as much legs as what he maybe had done in the past. Just going back to the Conor Hourihane thing, I think he's going to have to impress when he gets his chances. It's just the way of the world, They were always going to strengthen, they were always going to get better, and I just hope that he does get on the pitch, that he will do his bits and pieces, because it would be great to see him play regular for Villa.
Stoke are the example that we go back to a lot of maybe underestimating Irish players, that every year they would bring in a replacement for Glenn Whelan, and after 10 games Whelan would be back in and play for the rest of the season. Likewise with John Walters, they'd bring in a striker, they'd spend a lot of money. I don't know if you found that at Palace, Damien, that maybe Irish players, maybe even English, British players as well, are underestimated at times, that they're always looking at a shiny foreign signing that'll appease the fans, that's what they want to see, rather than actually just the solid centre-back that's there.
To an extent, you do have a point, but I just think that everybody at that level is under pressure, because there's windows coming up and everybody's looking to improve. Everyone's getting to look better. I'll tell you a story that Tony Pulis told me once, actually, about Glenn Whelan. When I was chatting to him one time, a long time ago. When Tony left Stoke, he said to Wheelo, I just want to thank you for everything you do. He said, you're a credit to yourself, because he said, every transfer window I've tried to replace you since I've been here. And you're a credit to yourself that you rose to the challenge of every player that came in, and you were better than all of them, and you gave me a better chance of winning games of football. And that's what he said to me when he left. And that's just an extent of the character of Glenn Whelan. I think Conor's going to need something similar. And when you're at that level, you have to be able to handle that, because it's part and parcel of the game.
It's like
I feel that Johnny's itching to do a Tony Pulis accent.
It's one of the most qualified compliments you'll ever get. You've been a credit to yourself, because I've been trying to get rid of you forever.
But it must obviously shape the, like Glenn Whelan sometimes, and again, like we only sometimes see him in the press setting, so that can be misleading sometimes. But I think he's obviously dealt with a lot of doubters in Ireland, over his time, to be fair.
Since he started driving that Ferrari.
Oh yeah, like he's been the butt of a lot of sort of bad jokes and some unfair criticism at times. But it must, he must be aware of that situation at Stoke over time, that it must give you a sort of a combative streak in your personality, a certain defiance. And I know he's had this, every footballer that gets to that level has had to have that to some degree anyway, but it must even have just increased his determination even more, just to to keep going. I mean,
You've probably
it's a credit to him.
experienced being in Stoke, and I remember being at matches and waiting to interview Glenn Whelan afterwards, and you talk to the local journalists who would all rave about him, how generous he was with his time and how good he was to talk to and how interesting an interviewee he was. And he would stand in the mix zone after the Premier League game and he would talk to the 2 or 3 local journalists and he'd be full of life, and the second you would say Irish radio, his entire demeanour would change, and he would become that sort of sullen guy that we've got used to, who we were all shocked to see stop in the mix zone after the last Ireland game and stop and chat for 10-15 minutes. Because well, I think it's totally understandable, because all he hears is Irish radio, Irish media, and all he's ever got pretty much in the Irish media that he's heard, I'm sure, is stick.
Well, I think his take was, you know, not to misrepresent it, but certainly from chatting to people who might know him well, that it wasn't so much like he obviously got the most vocal stick did come from a TV studio and from certain people.
He saw my head.
And maybe
it was Eamon Dunphy's head he was seeing.
Well, I think maybe there was a feeling that maybe there wasn't enough of a backlash against that in terms of people defending him against it a bit more, perhaps. And I think that's possibly where it sprung out of. But hey, listen, like he's still he's still in the Ireland squad at 35. He's outlasted, even in an international context, he's outlasted quite a few people as well.
We'll talk about that 40-man Ireland squad that Mick McCarthy named yesterday in a moment, but there's been a goal at Goodison Park. It's Everton against Watford. Ian Brown.
An early strike for Everton. They lead Watford by 1-0. Bernard, the Brazilian, the goal scorer. He timed his run perfectly to stay onside, deep inside the Watford half. Took the ball on to the edge of the penalty area, cut in onto his right foot and beat goalkeeper Ben Foster, who might have done better at his near post. It's Everton 1, Watford 0.
Seamus Coleman captaining Everton once again today. Sidibe yet again not involved in the Everton squad. Let's go to St Mary, see what's happening between Southampton and Liverpool. No Caoimhín Kelleher in the matchday squad for Liverpool. Adrian did recover from that ankle injury.
Kelleher, as he was christened on Sky Sports.
Oh really? What was it?
Cobain, I think he ended up as.
That's kind of a cool name.
Kurt Cobain.
So there was
and Andy Lonergan, former Ireland under-16 international. Andy Lonergan.
Yeah, friend of Kilban.
Good friend of Kevin Kilban. We'll have to get him on the show when this whole thing dies down a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
you know Jim Bulger, like he names these horses in Irish just to wind up like the English journalist. 100%. Like he's obviously a kind of a keen patriot and all that, but in fairness, I do have a bit of sympathy for them with Caoimhín. It is
a difficult one. Well, try to spell it. It's a bloody nightmare. Anyways, let's go to St Mary, see what's happening. Southampton, Liverpool. Peter Hood.
It's Southampton 0, Liverpool 0. With Southampton the brighter of the two sides at present. Liverpool showing a few signs of tiredness from their cup success midweek. A great chance for a debut goal for Che Adams. The ball played into the penalty area, but Adrian was quick and smart off his line to deny the striker an opening chance. Liverpool have gone close. Milner had a shot that was deflected into the arms of the keeper. It's Southampton 0, Liverpool 0.
Liverpool have made plenty of changes from the Super Cup win over Chelsea, but they have started for the first time this season with the front three of Mane, Firmino and Salah. To Carrow Road, Norwich against Newcastle. Andrew Cheal.
Norwich 0, Newcastle 0. A really good start by Norwich, playing some excellent football, almost totally in the Newcastle half of the field. They've had a couple of shots, one on the turn by Cantwell, straight at the keeper Dubravka, and Leitner has also had a crack from 18 yards. Excellent effort with his left foot, just wide of the post. Good chance for Newcastle at the other end. Kraft, an angled shot, wastefully wide and high. Norwich 0, Newcastle 0.
And to the Amex, where it is Brighton against West Ham. Richard Newman.
Brighton and Hove Albion 0, West Ham United 0. It was a bright start to this game from both sides. The visitors are more of the ball, but Albion really could and probably should have taken the lead inside the first minute. Defender Dan Burn, unmarked, headed just over from a Pascal Gross free kick. No other clear-cut chances just yet, but the game's being played at a good pace. West Ham's passings looked very sharp in Graham Potter's first competitive home game in charge of Brighton. It's goalless at the Amex.
Harry Wilson has put Bournemouth 2-0 up away against Aston Villa with 20 minutes gone at Villa Park. And the latest scores in the Championship: Luton are 1-0 up against West Brom, Forest 1-0 up against Birmingham, Preston have taken a 1-0 lead against Swansea.
Irish goal scorer in that game, but
we're going to have to extend it. To the Championship.
But even Joe Rafferty, not even a lot of people would recognise the name as an Irish name. He's an ex-under-21 international who got a move, I think, from Rochdale to Preston last year. He's a full-back, so...
I'd never heard of him, and I assumed he was just English.
No, he's ex-Irish under-21 international, yeah.
Is it Rafferty or Raftery then?
No, it's Rafferty.
Okay.
It's Rafferty.
Like Ronan Rafferty.
It looks like he's playing left full tonight. I thought he was right back, but he's playing left full. So,
Derby are 1-0 up away against Stoke, so all the rest of the games in the Championship are still scoreless. 53106 is the text number. Damien Delaney is on the line. You mentioned Bohemians' 10-1 win. It was 10-0, was it? And UCD got a consolation.
Yeah, I don't remember this happened to me before, but I think it was around 6 or 7-0. I said to Oisin, I was like, I thought it was 6-0, but it was 7-0 at the time. I'd actually just, one of the goals had...
So are you sure your co-commentary went as well as you thought?
Yeah.
This is a slightly damning review, to be fair.
But it was one of those games, it was that ridiculous. So it was 10-0 and you're like, okay, this is really embarrassing. And then the best goal of the night, McClelland, an absolute screamer at the Jodie's, at the Des Kelly carpet end, into a stand with absolutely no away
fans. Did he celebrate? Did he show any emotion?
Did he cup his ears?
Yeah.
Internally, I'm sure he's still buzzing. He scored a cracking goal.
Somebody texted me last night, did he go straight into the net to get the ball back? Running back to the halfway line. I was like,
all right, lads, I can only guess that UCD got their team talk from our former football manager. Our first ever game, he gave us a team talk about all-out attack, and it worked. We all attacked, but had no midfield or defence, and we lost 16-0. Got some pride back the following week when they decided not to show up for the next game, so at least it couldn't happen again, says Martin.
Well, just on that, they played 3-5-2, but it was 3-5-2, not 5-3-2, so the two wing-backs were effectively sort of in line with their midfield. Now, when you have a Bohs wing situation of the two full-backs were Leahy and Lyons, absolutely excellent, Wade Slater and Grant, so they double up like a lot on the wing, and they 2-on-1 several times, and they didn't change it, and it was fairly apparent that they were in for a massacre if things went a certain way. And I remember saying, like, this could be 5-0 at half time. It was 5-0 by about 51 minutes.
Really good co-commentary there, Johnny.
That was
prescient.
Who's your favourite of your co-commentators that you've worked with?
Couldn't possibly name
Kilban,
but I know that Damien Delaney is now my favourite contributor.
That's what you're trying to get back on side with him now.
Back in his good books. Yeah. Still scoreless between Southampton and Liverpool midway through the first half. Damien, a lot of the conversation around Liverpool this week, even though they started the season with a 4-1 win where they were 4-0 up before half time and won the Super Cup against Chelsea, is about the amount of opportunities they've been giving away at the back, and that they're playing this incredibly high defensive line. Now, I've heard it put out there, and that maybe they're trying to take advantage of VAR and the fact that there'll never be a wrong offside decision again, and if they have a perfect offside line, that actually that's the reason for this, and they can have everybody a bit further up the pitch. Well, what's your reading of what Jurgen Klopp's trying to do?
I wouldn't say it's anything to do with VAR. To be honest, it's a hell of a risk to take, and Liverpool, if they want to win the league, I don't think they can afford many slip-ups. So I wouldn't say it was something to do with that. I think it's just part of the revolution as a team. You know, they're not going to come out this year and be the exact same as they were last year. They're always probably looking to improve, looking to get better. And this is something that he wants to implement. And they probably worked on it in pre-season. And they're just going to see how it goes.
What are the reasons for it, do you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to play a high line, really, is you want to kind of go, you know, in basketball terms, they say full court press. So if you've got a midfield three and a front three, you're giving them license just to go and press really high up the pitch. And if your back four is dropped off in its own half, then there's going to be a huge gap. And then you can beat the press quite easily. And then you've got a backpedaling back four to put you in trouble. Whereas if you squeeze your back four right up on the halfway line, and then the only ball you're really giving them is the ball over your head and behind. So I think if you watch the wide angle view of Liverpool, the goalkeeper will probably be, I'm going to say 10, 15 yards outside his box. And they're kind of hedging their bets that, you know, if their front six are effective in the pressing, it's going to be a clearance as opposed to a pass, and it would want to be a hell of a ball to beat your two centre-backs and drop in between the centre-backs and the keeper, if you don't understand what I'm saying. So they're just trying to go full court press, and your back four has to be squeezed up for that.
So, like, this is interesting. They've obviously put a lot of thought into this. If you think of a high line, and UCD did this a lot last night, where they caught Bohs offside an awful lot, but lost 10-1. So whatever, but in any event, Damien, if you think of a high line, is your not immediate thought this is fraught with danger, because the best four defenders in the world trained like army regimented training to defend a high line, you're still vulnerable to just a lad spinning off you, because it's just, to me, it's absolutely fraught with risk.
It is, it massively is, but I think he's obviously weighed up the options, and he thinks that letting a team beat the press and get the ball in that little pocket between his back four and his midfield three or midfield four, whichever he's playing, is he thinks that's a bigger risk. So I think it's just part of Liverpool's evolution. You know, they weren't going to stay the same as what they were last year. They're looking to improve. They're looking to get better. And this is something that he's probably had in his back pocket for a while, and he's trying to implement it.
Have you come up against teams trying to play that tactic before?
Yeah, Spurs are the biggest opponents of it. They go full court press every time they lose the ball. They just have a license that the nearest man just goes and press. And what you're hoping is that if they're effective, the front six, you're not going to be able to have time to get your head up and get a pass off. It's going to be hurried. If you Mane running you down, you're not going to get it out your feet and have a little look and pick a pass out. You're going to be hacking at a clearance to get as far away as possible. And then you're banking on your two centre-backs and your goalkeeper to snuff out any danger. And as well as that, you can do what they call, you can have sustained attacks. So if your back four is squeezed up and the clearance is only getting as far as the halfway line and your back four on the halfway line, they're heading it back in. So you get sustained attacks and you don't get a chance to catch your breath. And they almost just beat you into submission that way, really,
Let's hear from John Giles. He was in studio as always on Thursday night talking about Liverpool's high defensive line and saying that the sooner they get rid of it, the better. The big talking point probably the fact that they've given up a lot of chances in all three games, and a lot of the analysis around that seems to be this high line, a very, very high defensive line that they're playing. Have you seen a change in how Liverpool are defending this season?
Definitely, Nathan. They weren't doing it last year at all. I mean, occasionally, like most teams, they would do it and they'd get people offside. But it seems to be a policy now that if the team, the opposition, have the ball in the middle of the field, that if there's a runner, instead of going with them, they're going to leave him and put him offside. I mean, even Norwich in the first match, in the first half particularly, and even for the goal that they scored, it was not tracking down. I didn't see them do it at all like that last year. And it seems to be, this is going to be, we call it a high line now. And anybody that runs beyond us, we're going to come out and put them offside. I mean, you go back even to the Manchester City match. Like there was long balls out on the goalkeeper. I think Sterling got through. But as if they're going to press it up, and it's pressing it up too much. I mean, even the panel said it last night. With the lads on. Of course, depends which one you were watching.
On BT with Glenn Hoddle.
Glenn Hoddle and that, yeah. And like at half-time, he said, I can't understand it because they are pressing coming out. I haven't seen them do that before. And they've conceded more chances, actually, in the two matches, despite the fact that they won in these matches that I've seen, that they didn't concede last year. I just don't understand it. It's definitely a new policy. Now, how long it's going to last, Nathan, I don't know. But the sooner they get rid of it, the better.
Damien, a couple of things on this. Liverpool, the chance they've given up, quite often it's the forward spinning off the centre halves and getting in behind. Yeah. Should the centre backs be tracking the runs of forwards, or do you just let them go and trust that your goalkeeper will do his job? Well,
you definitely want one as tight as he wants and one covering in behind. But when you're squeezing up the pitch that much, you're going to give up those chances. John Giles said there that he does no longer is going to last. I highly doubt Jurgen Klopp's type of coach that he's just thought this up and as soon as it goes wrong that he's just going to throw it out. He's a lot of players come back late from international tournaments. Maybe he's not exactly where he wants to be, but I could realistically see him sticking with this for the foreseeable future until he gets everyone fit and everyone on the same page. I know Mane only came on last week. But managers like Klopp, Guardiola, they're always looking to evolve. They're always looking to get better. It's like Tiger Woods with the golf swing. Remember he'd always break down his golf swing and start again, and he'd be terrible. Everyone would say, "What's he doing that for?" It's the same thing. These people always need to get better, and ultimately they didn't win the league last year. So Klopp's line of thought will be, "We need to get better," and this is obviously something that he's thought up, that he wants to do, and I can see him sticking with it. And where do you think it has broken down then in these first three games that they've given up so many opportunities? Is it that the midfield aren't putting the pressure on? Yeah, I think that's what it would be. I just think that the front six aren't probably as effective as what he's hoping them to be, so that the opposition defensive players probably getting a couple of seconds more on the ball and they're getting their head up and maybe they're picking passes. Whereas I think once he gets his front three, especially because they do press like nothing you've ever seen before, and the midfield three as well with Henderson and Fabinho going in and Milner as well, they press like you wouldn't believe, and you don't get a minute's peace. When they go full court press, my God, man, you barely get to draw your leg back and there's someone on top of you already. As long as that goes on, there's just going to be a lot of goals in their games because Liverpool, they don't have a midfield that's going to dominate a game and have the ball all the time. So if they're playing a very high line and a crazy aggressive press high up the pitch, they're going to score a lot of goals. They're certainly going to concede a lot of goals, and it'll be interesting to see how it evolves. I against better teams, particularly in Europe, I can't see how they're going to get away with this because it just takes one passing behind and one clever bit of movement.
But if this is what Tottenham have been doing in recent times, and Tottenham have had one of the best defences in the Premier League.
Not to that extent, though. Like, not to that. Like, Liverpool's is... I don't know, I haven't seen anything quite like it in terms of how actually aggressive they are.
Well, is it just that it's Liverpool and there's more focus? Because once you mention Spurs, Damien, you do think back, and Alderweireld and Vertonghen would almost always play on the halfway line. And also, you look at that Spurs defence, the one thing you'd often say about Danny Rose is he's probably the best last gasp defender in the Premier League.
He's very quick.
The speed, the amount of times he gets back to clear danger. And also, Hugo Lloris does play that sort of sweeper-keeper role.
That's the other thing. Their keeper situation is now not what they envisaged at the start of the season. So, like, Alisson is certainly up there with one of their most important players. He's obviously out. Now, against the likes of Norwich, you can kind of try that because they're like, well, we're going to score. But there is an element of, this is an attacking move in the sense of playing a high line. It's not so much a defensive thing because it's about their ability to score goals. And that's part of the package. But I don't think they've quite the midfield, the quality in midfield to really make this work. And I know Damien's saying they're not going to ditch it straight away, but they will ditch it if they're conceding a lot of goals, and I think they will.
Well, that's a fair point. I think if it's absolutely terrible, I think you will get over that quickly, but I can't see it. I think once Salah, Firmino and Mane get up to speed, they're going to go down, because Spurs are the original team that did this full court press. Every time they lose the ball, they just go and hunt. And the goalkeeper is key to it as well, you know.
You can see why against teams maybe in the bottom half that this would work, because as you say, it becomes just this incessant pressure where you can't get out, and maybe they don't have the midfielders of the quality who can pick that pass out, particularly when they don't have any time in the ball. But like, even you think of if Liverpool play Manchester United, and it's a couple of months away, so maybe they fine-tune this. But Paul Pogba can pick a pass out of nothing in midfield. The pace of Rashford and Martial to get in behind. Like, playing that tactic against Manchester United, would that not be a huge risk?
I think it would be, yeah. But I just think they're still trying to perfect it. You know, they're only a game and a half into the season. He didn't have any of his superstars for pre-season. I think they're probably only in the building 2-3 weeks, so they're probably still learning and trying to get used to what he's looking for. I don't think it's like a complete change from last year. It's just moving it further along, really, and just kind of expanding on what they were doing last year. And I think it's great. I think it's fantastic that they're trying to get better, and I think he will get it right.
Let's be honest, though, like Liverpool are going to be like 3/4 of the teams in the league, almost regardless of whether they played 11 players in any position. They're just a lot better. When they played like Man United and Old Trafford last year, when they played Man City, they're well able to adjust for the game at hand. I can't see Klopp sticking with the way they played against Norwich against the likes of Man United. It's just not going to happen. But he's probably kind of intelligent enough to say, we're playing Norwich at home, let's kind of see how this works. It's in its infancy because we're going to win anyway. They were 4-0 up at half time.
Like, it is positive. I mean, you have these like trends and periods. Like Man City, their rival are a free scoring attacking side, and this is a more positive, progressive step rather than trying to go the other way in some way in terms of mindset, you know. And it's funny, I was looking at their stats there actually for the Southampton game now. I mean, again, the stats are dangerous, but it's around actually 50-50 in possession after half an hour now. Again, like, these possession stats sometimes can sometimes mislead in terms of the story, but they're not exactly sort of dominant or banging the door down by the looks of it either, you know.
That's not really surprising either with the way they play. Like, possession, the team who's basically losing in the game has the ball because the other team doesn't want the ball. But if it's 0-0, 50-50 possession is actually a fairly well indication, and that's completely different to Man City because Liverpool just don't have the midfielders, and they didn't make that signing in the off-season to basically run a game.
Yeah, Liverpool are a team that plays on the break, that are looking for the breakdown of possession of the opposition.
I don't think Liverpool are a massively possession-based team anyway. I mean, if you look at stats, especially when I was playing, Liverpool play an awful lot of, I want to say long balls, but they class a long ball as something over 25 yards. I mean, they do go back to front very, very, very quickly, and they almost just get in your defensive third as quickly as possible and then let their front three run wild. And they just put so much incessant, unrelenting pressure on you that it's like a boxer taking body blows, that after a while you just can't take much more of it. They just set a tempo in the game, and it's very, very hard to live with.
It's not only that, Nathan, sorry, they're like two of their most attacking dynamic players are actually fullbacks, and so their midfielders, they're basically there to break up play, win it back, and if they get a goal or get an assist, that's a positive. Like, Trent Alexander-Arnold is probably one of the best passers in the Premier League. He's absolutely excellent, and then obviously the dynamism of Robertson. So they have that as well. They've a milieu of attacking options, and their midfield is basically there to break up play and to provide a lot of energy.
Let's go to Carrow Road. There's been a goal between Norwich and Newcastle. Andrew Cheal.
Norwich City 1, Newcastle United 0. Timo Pukki with a cracking right foot volley from just inside the corner of the penalty area. Newcastle with a headed clearance, it didn't go far enough, and Pukki cracked in the volley. Before that, we've seen the best chance of the game fall into Newcastle, who'd hardly had a kick so far. Joe Linton with a header 8 yards out, goal all over it, and he headed it wide. Norwich 1, Newcastle 0.
Yeah, Timo Pukki, so dangerous against Liverpool last week, puts Norwich in front at home against Newcastle. Let's go to St Mary's, see what's happening then. Southampton against Liverpool. Peter Hood.
Southampton 0, Liverpool 0 here at St Mary's, and it's the home side that have been on top. An excellent save by Adrian has kept the scores level when Virgil van Dijk from the James Ward-Prowse corner headed the ball towards his own goal. The keeper brilliantly saved to keep out and keep the scores level. Southampton have been closest through Shea Adams, Liverpool little seen of. Southampton 0, Liverpool 0.
Yeah, so not great from Liverpool in the first half so far. To the Amex, it's Brighton against West Ham. Richard Newman.
Brighton and Hove Albion 0, West Ham United 0, but Brighton have had a goal ruled out by VAR for offside. Real shame for the home side because it's a cracking goal from Leandro Trossard. Dan Burn, who delivered the cross for the Belgian winger's volley, was just offside. It was marginal. But Albion on top at the moment. They've also forced 2 decent saves from Lucas Fabianski. One tipped over the bar from Dale Stevens and another parried from a curled Solly March shot. West Ham yet to threaten Albion keeper Matty Ryan's goal. It's Brighton 0, West Ham 0.
And to Villa Park, Aston Villa against Bournemouth. Flying start for Bournemouth in this one. Tom Gale.
Villa 0, Bournemouth 2, and it's been a nightmare first half so far in terms of Aston Villa's return back to the top flight. Tom Heaton, their goalkeeper, gave away a penalty, bringing down Callum Wilson, and up stepped Josh King to slot it home. And then Harry Wilson, on his debut, was on a season-long loan from Liverpool, rifled one into the bottom corner, courtesy of a Tyrone Mings deflection. Villa have grown into it, chances coming. Wesley, their 22 million striker, he's having more and more opportunities. But it's Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 2.
So Villa 2-0 down at home, still scoreless between Brighton and West Ham. Everton through Bernard lead Watford by a 0-0. It's Norwich 1, Newcastle 0, and still scoreless at St Mary's between Southampton and Liverpool. Earlier, Aubameyang and Lacazette scored the goals as Arsenal beat Burnley 2-1. Ashley Barnes with the goal for Burnley. Manchester City Spurs is going to be a tasty one later. That is the 5:30 kickoff. And in the Championship, Barnsley 1-0 up against Charlton. Blackburn have taken a 1-0 lead against Middlesbrough. Scoreless between Brentford and Hull. It's Bristol City 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Luton 1, West Brom 0, scoreless between Millwall and Sheffield Wednesday. Forest have gone 2-0 up against Birmingham. It's 1-1 between Stoke and Derby. Swansea 1-0 down at home against Preston, and Leeds have taken a 1-0 lead against Wigan. And this is where the complications are going to begin if we extend our competition to the Championship. Does Patrick Bamford get the music or not?
No.
Oh,
no chance.
Wow. Damien, what do you think?
No, I don't think
all right, well there we have it. Patrick Bamford, no music.
Again, some neutral music, some halfway house music has to be.
Ireland's Call or something.
Yeah. Oh, that wouldn't go down well with the rugby fraternity. Suggesting it's a bit less Irish or something.
The striker situation, obviously we've a real problem at international level. We've a problem in the League of Ireland as well, in that we don't have players basically who are scoring lots of goals. But I'm very interested to see.
Andrew Gray scored 4 goals last night, and Danny Mandry scored a hat-trick.
Yeah, I don't think that counts. But
no, they do.
I'm very interested in Glenn McCauley, who was at Liverpool for 5-6 years. I fully expected that he'd move to Championship in the off season. I think he was linked with like Sunderland, maybe QPR, certainly linked with a couple of clubs. Signed for Pats. He's a Jobestown young lad. I thought he'd sign for Rovers. Signed for Pats. Scored in the cup last week. Scored again last night. And he is a blank canvas of a player, you know, who was taught an awful lot of underage. And I was actually talking to Carrie Kenny today, and he said he's absolutely delighted with him in terms of how he's kind of adjusted, because he was sort of off the pace when he joined. And he's a player that I think, in terms of the paucity of sort of strikers that we have, he's someone to keep an eye on. He could maybe down the line force his way into international.
Well, you're hoping, yeah. I mean, it's a long way to go. Like you're young. It's a serious long way to go. I mean, like he was very well thought of. You're right. Like when he was underage level with Liverpool, didn't always play underage level for Ireland, and I think there was, I don't know, might have been a couple of complications there. So I don't think he's had a completely straightforward,
not at all,
route. So give him time. You know, I'd say give him time. You're always hoping that you'll have another Shawnee Maguire success story, but I just, you know, I'd say he needs to have a body of work of around 18 months or so before we can start talking in dramatic terms about him.
We need to take a quick break. 53106 is the text number. All our football coverage is brought to you by Paddy Power. Damien, one to ponder on the ad break. Keith in Galway is wondering, who would Damien rather face if he was still in his prime playing in the Premier League, Sergio Aguero or Mo Salah? You've got to think about that now.
That's a good one.
Off the Ball on News Talk. Moncrief.
We also played one of the two adverts that have just been banned because of their use of gender stereotypes. And someone says, well, if that's the standard for banning things, can we ban Peppa Pig for its disgusting depiction of men? Well, you know, and that's not an unfair point. Because silly Daddy Pig, with his big fat tummy, is routinely humiliated and depicted as an idiot. And actually, the man is a saint, if you want my honest opinion.
Moncrief.
With the all-new Dacia Duster.
Weekdays from 2 p.m. on News Talk.
Productive afternoons with Harvey Norman. Need more you time? Ask about our range of large capacity washing machines with quick wash functions in Harvey Norman today. Now, where's the remote?
Go, Harvey, go! Are you studying for the SCCA or CMA exams? Then accountancyschool.ie is the place for you. I'm Liam Doran, and whether you want online, face-to-face or recorded lectures to help you pass your SCCA or CMA exams, you should visit accountancyschool.ie. We deliver outstanding results. For more information, visit accountancyschool.ie, where you count.
Let's face it, the Irish summer has serious commitment issues. It's always late, disappears for weeks at a time, and consistently breaks its promises. But not us. At Electric Ireland, we're committed to giving you an 8.5% saving on your gas and electricity year after year after year after year. Visit electricireland.ie/join for the kind of commitment you deserve.
Estimated annual bill €1,736. Average consumption, urban 24-hour, discounted unit rate, standing charge, PSO levy and carbon tax. Residential, dual fuel, direct debit and online billing. Terms and conditions apply. See electricireland.ie/EAB. Rates at 1st of April 2019, subject to change.
Last month, the Parrott saved €343 at Lidl. Their shop last week included traditional carved crumb tam for only $2.29. Perfect for back-to-school lunches or just eating it by the slice watching telly. Start your big save at Lidl.ie. Lidl, more for you. The Barrett shop between July 2nd and July 23rd and received a gratuity for participation.
To celebrate the Rugby World Cup, Air's broadband sale kicks off now. With totally unlimited fibre broadband, plus you get the Air Sport Pack free. The home of the Rugby World Cup in Ireland. And it's on sale for an incredible $29.99 a month for 6 months. Call 1-800-500-300, go in store or visit air.ie. Air. Let's make possible. New customers only, $59.99 a month thereafter. Subject to availability. Air Sport Pack channels subject to change. User experience may vary. For full details and terms, see air.ie.
Bruce Betting, one of Ireland's leading bookmakers. With best odds guaranteed on UK and Irish horse racing, Bruce Betting has you covered. And with the Bruce Betting app, we're always giving you more. T's and C's apply. Bruce Betting, in-store, online and now on your phone. Over 18s, please gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
Don't miss the historic festival at Mondello Park August 17th and 18th, celebrating 60 years of the Mini. The family day on Sunday will have historic food vendors, live theatre, music and lots more, with prizes for best dressed in historic attire. A great family day out not to be missed. Tickets $12.50, under 16s free. See mondellopark.ie for more.
It's time for the weekend. Get to B&Q and get set for that painting project. Our huge range will help you do it Saturday and enjoy it Sunday. Like Dulux 5-litre coloured emulsion for just €30. So for all your paint essentials, you can do it when you B&Q it.
It's the gut-drenched coming in this morning's jackpot.
The Lotto jackpot is €10.5 million. Play responsibly in-app, in-store or at lottery.ie. Lotto. Time to play. Estimated jackpot.
So that concludes the Uninest apartment tour. What do you think?
This can't be right. My own ensuite bedroom, new kitchen with huge sitting room for €240 per week? Wait, I bet the bills are mad steep. So, how much are the bills on top of the €240?
All bills included.
All bills included? Get out of that garden!
Yes, we do have a garden too. Follow me.
Uninest Student Residences. Unbelievable accommodation.
just because I have a disability doesn't mean I'm inspirational. I was going to say I hate that word, but I made peace with it. But it's a word I absolutely detested. It lost all meaning. Inspiration to me is a Nelson Mandela, is a Muhammad Ali. It's not me.
Because we're all human means we're all equal. Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission. Learn more at ihrec.ie.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back to Saturday's Off the Ball. Nathan, Dan and Johnny in studio. Damien, Delaney on the line. All our football coverage brought to you with Paddy Power. The latest scores in the Premier League. It is Southampton 0, Liverpool 0. Norwich 1-0 up against Newcastle. Everton 1-0 up against Watford. Scoreless between Brighton and West Ham. And Bournemouth with 2 early goals away at Villa, lead by 2-0. Arsenal beat Burnley by 2-1. City Spurs is a late game. We asked the big question. Big goal, Johnny. Where's the big goal? Big goal. Sadio Mane has scored for Liverpool in first half injury time to give them the lead against Southampton at St Mary's. We'll bring you that goal in just a moment. But Liverpool make the breakthrough. They've obviously played a lot of games right at the start of this season. This, Damien, I guess, is just one of those games. You get your 3 points and you get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the extra time the other night, and the travelling involved too. I think we would have been late getting back. And obviously playing on a Saturday is an ideal for them. But they get 3 points today, which it looks like they will, then they'll be extremely happy and it's been a good week.
I said we were asking the big questions, and one of the listeners texted in with a massive question, Damien, that you had the entire ad break to think about. If you were still in when was your prime? When was the moment you felt at your absolute peak as a player in the Premier League?
It wasn't Daily Mount anyway.
Was it when that 20-yard? That was Johnny. That was Johnny.
A song or something for this Daily Mount reference. A swear jar or something.
No, we're talking about positives now, Damien. Your prime. I'm going to say the exact moment that you smashed it in from 20 yards against Liverpool.
No, it was probably the year we made it to the FA Cup final. At Christmas time, actually, we were 5th in the league. No one was talking about it. Leicester were top. So I think we had something like 30 points at Christmas and it was all going swimmingly. But then we had a couple of bad injuries after Christmas and we tapered off. We obviously made it the FA Cup final. But I think that year was probably the best I felt, and kind of all the years of practice and hard work kind of came together and I was really on top of my game.
So that Damien Delaney, would he like to face Sergio Aguero, which you have done, or Mo Salah?
Probably I'd like to face Aguero because he's not often involved in the game and he tends to throw it around and it would be a quick clean kill with him, 2 touches and 2 goals, whereas I think Salah, when his pace and his energy would just torment you for 90 minutes. Which he did before to me. His first game for Liverpool in the Hong Kong tournament out there. We were playing 3 at the back and I was left side of 3 centre backs and Liverpool were playing 3 up front.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it was Mane, Firmino and Salah, and it was basically me and Salah just stood next to each other, and my God, he absolutely torched me for 60 minutes.
Who's the best player you've marked actually or played against?
I'd probably have to say Suarez, to be honest. Yeah, he was just relentless in his work rate, and his aggression, and he was just a real nasty, in a good kind of way, in a bad kind of way as well. But he genuinely was a tough guy, and he would chase everything, and you never got a moment's peace with him.
Oh, that season was as good a season as any one individual has put in the Premier League. He was unplayable.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely unplayable. And every single game you went to see him, he was the best player on the pitch.
And it was real street football as well. It was like, just scoring goals out of nothing.
You think of the hat-trick, he scored 3 or 4 against Norwich.
On Norwich, he always used to do a job on
Norwich. And he scored the one from 40 yards.
Yeah. Oh. And he also had that,
I'd say if you're the next Norwich defender on here now, they could really they could really go over their horror. Yeah.
Just on Patrick Bamford, the suggestion that we could play Morrissey's Irish Heart, English Blood.
Yeah.
But is it not English Blood, Irish Heart?
Yeah.
It's Irish Heart, English Blood? That's very confusing. Irish Blood, English Heart.
Isn't that what
Irish Blood,
Owen
English
Morgan kind of said in reverse?
Was it?
Yeah.
That actually
you played with Patrick Bamford, did you, Damien?
Yeah, he was at Crystal Palace for a season on loan. Nice chap. Very, very nice chap.
Come on, Damien, tell us a bit more.
Never got the ballads going in the dressing room, did he?
Listen, when I said he's a nice chap, that was almost like a slur.
It was a bit like that qualified compliment for Whelan earlier. He's a nice lad.
We just needed to leave it hang there. Let's hear about that goal then for Liverpool at St Mary's. Peter Hood.
Liverpool 1, Sadio Mane for Liverpool against the run of play, opens the scoring and time added on in the first half. His ball, his shot from inside the penalty area, too good for Angus Gunn, curling beyond him. It's Southampton 0, Liverpool 1.
Half-time starting to come in because that goal came right at the end of the first half at St Mary's. Let's go to Carrow Road, Norwich against Newcastle. Andrew Cheal.
Norwich City 1, Newcastle 0. Norwich deservedly ahead after dominating the first half hour. Timu Puki's cracking right foot volley beat Dubravka despite the goalkeeper getting both hands to it. He made 3 decent saves before that as Norwich played some neat, constructive and delightful football through midfield. It really should have been Newcastle ahead though. Joe Linton's free header from 8 yards out flew wastefully wide. Norwich 1, Newcastle 0.
Looking at some of the tweets from some of the off the ball regulars, Stephen Doyle and Raf Diallo, it's like Liverpool complete smash and grab, haven't really played well at all. They basically had one chance and Southampton had a lot of the pressure. So you're already thinking, can Liverpool really afford to be dropping points at this stage of the season? Because Man City aren't. They're not going to be dropping points.
Well, they're playing Tottenham tonight. They played one game so far.
Without jumping to conclusions, can you even...
I don't think City will get over 90 points this season.
I will... Okay, let's have a bet on that. What did they get last season? 102?
No, 98.
98, 102 the season before?
Exactly. 200 points in 2 seasons.
Okay, we will have an even whatever that they get at least 90 points.
Okay. Whatever.
An even whatever.
Yeah, just leave it at that.
Just leave it at that. We'll work the finer points out at a later date.
Yes.
All right. Liverpool 1-0 up then at half-time. Let's go to the Amex. I think it's there, is it? The half-time between Brighton and West Ham.
Half-time, Brighton and Hove Albion 0, West Ham United 0, but you'd have to say that's Brighton's half. They look so different with its attacking style of play under new boss Graham Potter. Albion have had a goal ruled out by VAR for offside. Leandro Trossard's volley was a peach, but Dan Burn, who made the assist, was offside. Lucas Fabianski has saved well from Dale Stephens and Solly March, while Burn headed just over inside the opening minute. Very little in an attacking sense from West Ham, who actually started this game brightly until the home side took complete control. But at the break, it's Brighton 0, West Ham 0.
So still scoreless there, but obviously a complete change in style for Brighton this season. I know Kevin Coban was a bit worried for Brighton defensively, that they'd be open, expansive, particularly with Lewis Dunk and Shane Duffy. Maybe that wouldn't suit them, but 3-0 win last week. Maybe these guys just want to be let play football.
I suppose it's a change, it's a contrast. I mean, we were all obviously very fond of Chris Hughton, but maybe, I don't know, like it's a new experience for the players, and if the manager has a good reputation, so if they buy into it, it's all about probably how the players buy into it as much as anything. It's probably a mindset thing that if the players are receptive to it, you know, maybe it will work.
Damien, I don't remember Palace when you were there ever really been particularly dull to watch. They've always had a good tradition of exciting attacking players, but what Brighton seemed to suffer last season was just that the supporters wanted more. Initially you say, yeah, if we finish 17th, we just want to stay in the Premier League. But after 18 months of that, it was, no, actually we want to play exciting football. Did you find that with promoted teams, that the fans can get restless quite easily?
Yeah, without question, of course they do, because everybody wants to get better, and when you finished 10th in the league, or the next year you want to finish 8th, or you want to finish 7th, or, you know, so people are always wanting to get better, and that's okay too, you know. But if Brighton are playing more football this year, you can be fairly sure that this manager that they've brought in will have a plan for when they don't have the ball, or will have a plan for when they give it away, that they're not just going to go kamikaze wide open, everyone just go and do what you want to do, and when it turns over that you're going to get beaten a counter-attack regularly. So I haven't seen Brighton this year. I'm looking forward to watching them tonight to see how they actually are going to line up, how they're playing, and how they are on transition, because that is, when you want to play football and you're open and expansive, the key is on the transition when you give it away. How you're set up, or where you have to have certain players in certain positions to slow down the counter-attack so people can get back into shape.
It's hard to tell without seeing him, I guess, but how do you think Shane Duffy will be suited to that style of play?
He will do, yeah, because he will have protection, you know. I mean, like I said, if they spread out and they're open and centre-backs are split, you know, normally you'll have midfield players sitting right in front of, in the middle of the pitch, so that when it does turn over, they're not coming straight down your throat and they're not getting an instant effort on goal. So this manager is highly thought of, so I'd be fairly sure that he does have some sort of a plan for when they give the ball away.
Let's run through the rest of the half-times. The half-time whistle has gone at St Mary's. Southampton against Liverpool. Peter Hood.
Southampton 0, Liverpool 1. A very late goal from Sadio Mane separates the two sides, so it has to be said it was against the run of play. Southampton will feel themselves desperately unlucky to be behind after Mane cut in from a pass from Milner and curled a right foot shot perfectly into the top left-hand corner of Angus Gunn's goal. Southampton being close. Adrian has made 2 or 3 good saves. At half-time, though, it's Southampton 0, Liverpool 1.
At Villa Park, a nightmare start for Aston Villa in their game against Bournemouth. Tom Gale.
Off time, Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 2, and as far as script goes in terms of your first home game back in the top flight for 3 years, this isn't going to plan for Dean Smith's side. In the opening 60 seconds, a penalty was awarded to the visitors. Tom Heaton bringing down Callum Wilson. Up stepped Josh King in front of the Holt end to send the keeper the wrong way and give the visitors the advantage. And then 10 minutes later, Harry Wilson, debutant on a season-long loan from Liverpool, he let fly from 20 yards, courtesy of a deflection off Tyrone Mings. It found his way into the bottom corner. Villa have grew into the game. Wesley in particular, their new £22 million man, he's had more and more opportunities, but this one is in danger of boiling over. A number of players going down off the ball, a few meaty challenges, and both managers and backroom staff very animated on the touchlines. But at half time, it's Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 2.
We did think, all right, that there was a bit early in the season for boos for a newly promoted side, even if Villa were 2-0 down, but clearly aimed towards the officials after a pretty fractious first half at Villa Park. Finally to Goodison Park, where a lot is expected of Everton this season. They're taking on Watford. Ian Brown.
Everton 1, Watford 0. It was Bernard with the honour of scoring Everton's first goal of the season. A beautifully timed run down the left to reach Digne's long pass, and the Brazilian was able to cut in and beat Ben Foster at his near post after just 10 minutes. Watford, though, have posed problems. Dawson hit the bar and Capoue tested Pickford, but Everton really should have been 2 up just before the break. An unmarked Richarlison heading tamely over the bar. So at half-time, Everton 1, Watford 0.
Just that Leeds game, there's so many echoes of last year, and it was the game that kind of screwed up their entire promotion assault. They were playing Wigan, Bamford put them 1-0 up, Wigan were down to 10 men, and you're like, this is a formality, and they ended up losing the game 2-1. So there are a lot of kind of echoes from last season's game later on in the season.
Because Leeds are 1-0 up.
Bamford put them 1-0 up. Wigan went down to 10 men,
but
and
Leeds are still leading 1-0.
They lost the game 2-1.
Have Wigan been reduced to 10 men?
They have, indeed.
Okay, so all we need is the comeback, is what we're saying.
It was the game when I think they were about.
Now, basically.
I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think there were like 4 or 5 games left, and they were chasing, and that's when everything just kind of started going P-tong for them.
All our football coverage brought to you by Paddy Power, Dan McDonnell, Johnny Ward in studio, Damien Delaney on the line. Damien, just before you go, we're going to take a quick break, but I do want to get your thoughts after the break on the 40-man squad that Mick McCarthy has named, and even the very idea of a 40-man squad. So stick with us for that.
Get up-to-the-minute news updates at newstalk.com and on the Newstalk app.
Discover, dine and delight at a Taste of Donegal Food Festival, August 24th to the 25th in Donegal Town. A 3-day food and drink celebration with live music, tastings and demos from celebrity chefs Oliver Dunn, Catherine Fulvio, Nevin Maguire and many more. Visit at tasteofdonegal.com, supported by Donegal County Council.
Introducing Go Loud, the new app that brings together your favourite radio stations, podcasts and music. Download the Go Loud app for free or listen online at goloudnow.com. Go Loud, podcasts, radio and music to your ears.
Switch and save at Carphone Warehouse. Save up to €120 on exclusive deals with 3 you won't find anywhere else. Get the sleek Samsung Galaxy A50 for free, or the seriously innovative iPhone 7 for only €99. Both are available on a €30 a month plan with 3, with all-you-can-eat data. But only when you switch at Carphone Warehouse. Any network, any phone, any plan. Only Carphone Warehouse. T's and C's apply. Offer subject to a 24-month contract.
With over 15,000 coolers available to hire or buy, HSS Hire has a cooling solution for every workplace. Research shows staff are happier when their surroundings are comfortable. And with HSS Hire's range of fans, air conditioners and coolers, you can transform hot and stuffy into cool and calm. Drop into your local HSS, with branches nationwide in Dublin, Waterford, Cork, Limerick and Galway, and get up to 50% off your first hire. HSS Hire, you're better equipped.
mattresesdelivered.ie. Sale now on. Delivering your mattress immediately to any part of Ireland, free. That's mattresses-delivered.ie. Don't forget the hyphen.
I slept in bank doorways. Some of them weren't nice places. Too risky sometimes at night. I only realise now since I'm living here with Simon like 11 years, and I got a fright in my heart on the streets. This is where I live and I'll stay here as long as I can. People care about you, and if you're nice to them, they'll be nice back to you.
Until they can close their own door behind them, the most vulnerable members of our society will always be at their most vulnerable. Please help. Simon, 50 years of closing doors on homelessness.
Listen up, class. Aldi's Play Rugby sticker promotion is back. Collect official Irish rugby stickers every time you spend €30 in Aldi. Fill your primary school's poster for a chance to win one of 2 €50,000 prizes or one of 10 €10,000 prizes for your school's playing facilities. Tomorrow, Japanese for beginners. Konnichiwa, kids.
Konnichiwa, sir.
Aldi, official supermarket of the IRFU. Full details at aldi.ie/playrugby. Promotion runs 10th of August to the 8th of November 2019.
At Energia, we're proud to be the power behind Irish rugby and proud to keep bringing you great savings. To save the most, the best tactic is always to go direct to Energia. It's easier, quicker, and right now you can save up to €597 when you switch to Ireland's cheapest dual fuel bundle. Always play it direct. Go to energia.ie or call 1850 300 700. Energia, the power behind your savings. EAB €1,520 based on average annual usage. 12-month contract, discounted unit rate, standing charge, PSO levy and carbon tax, T's and C's and early termination fee apply. Valid from August 2019 and subject to change. Verification and T's and C's at energia.ie/EAB.
Ah, back to school. I bet you can't wait for it. The sound of silence, the 3-hour coffee mornings. But before you get notions, you need to sort out the school stuff. And Appliances Delivered has amazing deals. Like Mint Plus refurbished iPhones from $89.95. Tablets from $69.95. Great offers on laptops and more. Basically, Appliances Delivered has everything covered. Except for the books. You have to cover them yourself. Appliances Delivered is yours. Check out the back to school deals now at appliancesdelivered.ie.
At CCT College Dublin, choose from full-time or part-time courses in areas such as data science, networking, cybersecurity, data analytics, programming, software development, DevOps, project management, computerized accounts and more, including courses funded through Springboard Plus. CCT College Dublin on Westmoreland Street. Our dedication, your journey.
Across Ireland on 106 to 108 FM and at newstalk.com. This is News Talk.
It's 4 o'clock. I'm Karen Tompkins. Good afternoon. Gardaí in Dublin have arrested a man following a serious assault in Ballybock last night. The victim, a local man in his 70s, suffered head and spinal injuries in the attack, which happened near the Courtney Place flats. A man in his 50s was arrested this afternoon in connection with the incident and is being held at Mountjoy Garda Station. Former Lord Mayor Neil Ring says the victim is in a critical condition.
A man from a very well-known and well-respected family was viciously attacked, and unfortunately he's in a coma in hospital at the moment, and we're just hoping and praying that he'll come through it. The whole area in Ballybock is in shock. Everybody knows the man, an inoffensive gentleman just going about his business.
Fine Gael TD Peter Burke is insisting the Public Services Card should not be abolished. The Data Protection Commission found the card is in breach of data protection laws, ruling it should only be used by the Department of Social Protection, not other state agencies. The Commissioner will appear before the Public Accounts Committee on September 26th to discuss the matter. It's also being suggested the issue could leave the state facing millions in legal costs. Deputy Burke, a member of the PAC, says the card is very useful and should be kept.
No, I don't think the card should be abolished because it is a central way of accessing services in the state. And obviously people do get frustrated when they have to gather information again and again to access services from the state.
Sinn Féin says it wants the Education Minister to guarantee the safety of pupils and staff ahead of the new school year. It's after structural flaws were identified in 17 school buildings, in addition to the 22 others where defects were uncovered last year. The party's education spokesperson is Donncha O'Leary.
I think the Minister now and the contractor, Western Building Systems, need to come out and state very clearly whether there is any other building that is potentially affected by this. And we also need the department to bring forward and publish as soon as possible its report into procurement and tendering for buildings.
And that's it for now. More in an hour.
News Talk Weather.
Thanks to the AA. You'll find our lowest car insurance quotes online, guaranteed.
Feeling fresher than recent days today with good sunny spells and scattered blustery showers. Winds will be stronger up along west and northwest coasts. Top temperatures of 16 to 19 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
So Liverpool 1-0 up away at Southampton with the second halves just underway in the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. Sadio Mane scored the goal just before half-time to give Liverpool the lead. Elsewhere, Norwich are 1-0 up against Newcastle. Everton hold a 1-0 lead against Watford at Goodison Park. Still no goals between Brighton and West Ham, while Villa are 2-0 down at home against Bournemouth. Earlier, Arsenal made it 2 wins from 2 to start the season for the first time in a decade as they beat Burnley 2-1. Lacazette and Aubameyang with the goals. A huge match to come at 5:30 as Manchester City take on Tottenham at the Etihad Stadium. Damien Delaney is still with us for a few more minutes. Dan McDonnell and Johnny Ward in studio. Damien, just on that City-Spurs game, often you would have looked at a match like this and thought it's a bit early in the season, but you look at the way these leading players have started the year. Harry Kane, 2 goals last week. Raheem Sterling, a hat-trick. The Liverpool front three look like they're on fire. Marcus Rashford looked in peak condition last week for Manchester United. Has it sort of changed how players come back in pre-season, that there's no longer this sort of 6-7 games before you really see everybody right where you want them to be?
Yeah, the sports science now has gone through the roof. Players coming back fitter. Their training loads and their workloads are monitored. Everything that they do with the GPS vests and their food is monitored. So they know their players inside out, and they'll have them not just in peak condition for the first or second game of the season, but they're aiming to keep them in the same condition for the last game of the season. That's kind of their aim of what they go for. And obviously these people are very, very knowledgeable. So these players are normally in tip-top condition for the course of the season.
Well, Johnny Ward was dabbling in co-commentary last night. Dan McDonnell was doing real journalism, sitting through yet another McCarthy press conference.
Another squad announcement that was not actually a squad announcement.
Well, it was a squad announcement.
It is a squad announcement.
There were 40 players named in the squad.
Almost half of them aren't going to be in the final squad.
Do we know that for sure? So he's been restricted in the end to a 23-man squad, I think because there's a friendly this time against Bulgaria afterwards, might he name a bigger squad?
I mean, like, people wonder why he has to name it. I mean, the clubs do have to be notified that you might need their player, even if they are on standby, so other nations will name their 25-man squad, but they actually will have notified, 38, 39 players, clubs that they might need them. So it's just something that the FAI have done in recent years. He was doing an event in Galway and they put a squad announcement around it. And I suppose if you look at it from a positive slant, it's a way of letting players know that they're in his thoughts without necessarily it being likely that they're going to make the final cut. One
of those in the squad, in the extended squad, is Troy Parrott, who scored a brilliant goal last night for Tottenham's under-23s. Which is well worth checking out online. Let's hear from Mick McCarthy. Here's what he had to say about the possibility of Troy Parrott featuring in that final 23-man squad.
I was interested to see him in the pre-season games. I see bits of him. I didn't watch all the games. And even more interested that he wasn't even involved on the first day of the season. And if he is, he cause me a problem. That if not, he'll go with Stephen with the 21s. I haven't seen him enough. You'd have to ask Maurizio Pochettino. That's not for me to say, because that's a good headline. Mick McCarthy says he should play for Tottenham. I've been happy with the strikers I've been playing, to be quite honest. If he gets in the next couple of games and plays, he's going to cause me a problem and cause Stephen a problem. Because if he's playing in the first team, then I certainly have to consider him to have him in the squad, in the final squad, and then to play him. But he's not there as yet.
Should Mick really care about that? Genuinely? Yes. Should it be an issue? Like, he knows what Troy Parrott has to offer. Troy Parrott is clearly talented enough to be in an Ireland squad at the moment.
Does he know? But I don't think he knows what he has to offer.
He should do at this stage. Like, he's played what? How many games has he played pre-season now? If you go to see a player, you see him play. Mick McCarthy's this stage, like, he should be able to know how good Troy Parrott is.
This is international football. You cannot judge a player for international football on pre-season and under 23 matches. It was a brilliant goal, there's no question, and the technique is clearly there for Troy Parrott, and everybody at Tottenham raves about him. But those under-23 games, it's not real football.
I made the case, the piece in the paper say that I think he should bring him into this squad and be around the place, even if he's not going to play him. I think actually you'd be mad to start calling, play him against the Swiss or something. I mean, Mick McCarthy's on a very short-term gig here. He's got 4 qualifying games left potentially, so it's not really his job to blood players with a view to a future. That's not the terms and conditions of what he's been given. It's a matter of whether he needs to know if Troy Parrott is going to be useful to him. So I think the broader case is, I think having Troy Parrott around is good, because it's very very possible that Ireland could be in a playoff in March. And
by which time he's
certainly
older.
By March, I'd imagine, the way things are going with Parrott, that he'll probably be up there. So
that's my point
why
as
not
well,
get it out of the way now?
He is useful for
but he doesn't know what he can offer.
So bring him in and have him around the squad with a view to probably using him later on at the very least. And there is a kind of there's a paranoia about bringing in very young players at international level because they're not ready for it. But this lad is probably, potentially anyway, as talented as we've produced in a long time, because we haven't produced anything really. And I don't see the fear in having him in and around the squad and getting to know how players play as well.
Damien, where do you stand on this?
I think that if you bring him in the squad, into the 23-man squad, then you're openly saying you're not going to use him, you're cutting your squad options to 22. Second of all, I think the option you said of Mick there is Mick's polite way of saying that he will never play for me unless he plays first team football, because a kid has never been out and played first team football. You can play as many 23 games as you want, you can play as many pre-season games as you want. First team football is a different kettle of fish, and Mick definitely knows that, and Mick is definitely of that opinion, and he's never played first team football. So until he goes and plays first team football, he's not going to consider him for the national team, and I think that's quite right.
I'm even wary of getting carried away with Troy Parrott for March, because you look at Caoimhín Kelleher, how close he is for Liverpool, yet he just gets injured at the wrong time. Like we brought up the Conor Masterson situation several times, of getting injured at the wrong time, having been on the bench for Liverpool in big matches. And I know how highly rated Troy Parrott is at Tottenham, but Tottenham may well go out in January and spend 25 million on a striker, and he drops down the pecking order and actually never gets that breakthrough at Tottenham as everyone expecting. Now maybe, again, he has the talent that he goes out on loan and he builds a career somewhere, but there's no guarantees that just because he's banging them in at under 23 level.
I mean, look, we don't know. Like we don't know. We can't say anything with certainty about what he's going to be. I guess you try and listen and speak to people who are around that club or seem to have an idea what's going on. It does seem legitimate that he is really highly rated, that he's been signed up by this agency. It's Harry Kane's agency, and they clearly believe he's someone who's going to be around. I mean, you can't sort of stress how quickly this has all happened. I mean, Troy Parrott basically only really moved over properly last summer. He's still eligible for the Irish under-17 team. Never mind the 19s, the 21s, and now you've the senior manager talking about him. So there is sort of a responsibility on everyone not to get carried away and to place undue pressure on his shoulders. But I don't know. Of course he's good. We spoke about it earlier. At any top Premier club, there's going to be players coming in, and particularly someone like Spurs. Although actually they didn't sign anyone last year, so I mean they're not necessarily a club that's prolific.
There, lads, I seem to remember when Jack Byrne was in Man City's youth team academy. Was it the same kind of expectancy and hype around it as well?
Yeah, well, it's funny that we had Jack in and we were asking about Troy Parrott.
But not, I think, to answer Damien's question, with Jack, the real hype was when he was on loan in Holland for that year. So he actually was playing the first team football. I don't think there was ever a clamour for Jack when he was in the UEFA Youth League or whatever it's called. It was more the Canberra thing, I think it was.
You have to play first team football. Johnny, you'll never get the measure of a player until he plays a game at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon and he makes a mistake, and then you see what he's made of. How are you going to come in Monday morning? How are you going to react? Or even handling success, if he does really, really well, can you maintain it over the course of the season? 23s football is for senior players who are injured or trying to get fit, and young kids to bridge the gap from coming out of the youth team. But you should only be in that for 6 months, and the kid needs to go on loan. If he's not going to play at Tottenham, if I was him, telling my agent, get me out on loan, please. Because if Tottenham aren't going to use me, I'm not going to be on the bench. Get me out on loan.
He's very young though, Dim. And the fact that he's been using him, albeit in pre-season at that level, I'm just looking at our options. I mean, if we've 10 or 15 minutes left in a game, in theory, down the line, what are our game-changing options off the bench?
But you fellas have played first team football.
Yeah, who are they though? Like, I mean,
well, you look at the forwards that are there at the moment. Callum Robinson, playing Premier League football now with Sheffield United, who you assume will start for Ireland, probably alongside David McGoldrick.
He's probably got a good chance of starting now because a couple of others aren't. Shane Long's not in the squad.
So
today.
Shane Long isn't in the Southampton squad today. He's in the squad. Scott Hogan, who's gone out on loan, is in the squad. Michael Obafemi, who's on the bench for Southampton, he's there. Ronan Curtis, who I saw playing for Portsmouth earlier today. James Collins, who's playing first team football. Aidan O'Brien. Sean Maguire. Is he ahead of any of those players?
If Ronan Curtis is deemed to have the quality to be potentially coming on for Ireland and be getting into squads, we're not, like, what he's achieved in the game is of a fairly minor level. Troy Parrott, if
has never played a senior game.
I'm worried more about ability than actually what he's achieved. He can't have achieved them because he's so young. What's to say he can't do it for Ireland? And let's be honest, playing for Ireland is generally at a poorer level than playing Premier League, which he admittedly hasn't done yet. But Mick McCarthy should have a fair idea, having watched Troy Parrott at whatever level, of what he's capable of, because that's to the trained football eye.
The one thing McCarthy did say yesterday, you know, to put it like, because I think I put to him at one point, well, actually Michael Obafemi has got minutes in the Premier League. You know, he came on last week. You know, he came on in a handful of games last year.
Started against Man United last year.
Scott Hogan has just scored for Stoke.
And I think he likes Hogan as well. He's more of a poacher type player, so it's probably one if you were chasing a game. But you know, I put it about Obafemi. Even someone like Nathan Collins, okay, he's not going to be in this one, but he has played first team football, unlike Parrott. I think because Parrott is at Spurs and because like the top 6 clubs have this aura around them now, that because he's deemed good enough to be around, I think he probably is going to. He won't have to do too much to get into a squad. Like if he plays half an hour for Spurs in the next couple of weeks, I even think that would push him further than 5-6 games for someone else. I think there is an element of scale with that. I mean, I can imagine people listening to this now going, well, hang on, I mean, Wales did it with Ben Woodburn, they did it with Ampadu, with Ethan Ampadu as well, and you know, Ireland were on the receiving end of that. So like, other nations and managers have at times taken a different approach to this, and like, they clearly think Parrott is a bit special. Robbie Keane's gone to meet him one-on-one. The one thing I think we should be very wary of with Parrott, I mean, Parrott did go off injured last night. Parrott across this year has had 2 or 3 little niggly injuries at various stages, and I know that obviously in the summer there was a big debate of would he play in the 17s, would he play in the 19s, would he play in Toulon. He ended up not playing in any of them. I think Spurs are going to be quite protective of him here as well, so you know, I wonder how they would feel even about if he's carrying a bit of a knock now and all this international, because you mentioned
John, over for 2 weeks not to play.
You mentioned, John, like, that it's a lower level than Premier League, but with international football, to me, and Damien will know way more about this than any of us, it's almost the responsibility, the pressure. You're representing your country. It's so few games. It's still something to throw a kid into. You know, there's a gamble involved with that.
I'm wondering on that from Damien, like, how beneficial would it be to Troy to bring him in into training, to meet the lads, to play in the setup and just get to know them on a human level as well, and to kind of get to know what they're about?
Well, I think he'd be better off playing the 21s when games actually matter rather than training with the first team, because at least in the 21s it's a competitive game, they're group stages. I can't stress this point enough, lads. Playing 23s football where there's nothing on the line, it's about development. If you make a mistake, coach, don't worry about it, maybe you should have done this. It's all nice, easy, osy. And you're throwing him into an environment where if he has a poor 20 minutes against Switzerland or Bulgaria, is Bulgaria the other game?
Yeah, just a friendly, yeah.
But they come on, like, I mean, you know, if he's at fault for a goal, you got to believe the kid's so young. You don't want to throw, say, Queeveen Kelleher at Liverpool. It's the same thing. The guy's never played a first team game. I still think that there's a possibility that if Queeveen was fit, that I think Lonergan might play ahead of him anyway. Not because Lonergan's a better goalkeeper, but you have to protect him from himself because he's so young. And if you chucked him in front of the cop end and he dropped in a couple of howlers, similar to what Karius did, which is a possibility because the kids never played first team football before, then you have to understand that you could potentially ruin the kid's career. So I think Klopp will be very, very wary of that as well.
Goal between Brighton and West Ham, Richard Newman.
It's Brighton and Hove Albion 0, West Ham United 1, completely against the run of play. A through ball was picked up by Javier Hernandez and his scuff finish found its way past Matt Ryan. That's their first real effort on target, and it's, as I said, completely against the run of play. Albion have had more chances to take the lead in this second half. Leandro Trossard with the best opportunity when a ball was cut back from Pascal Gross, but he got his feet in a tangle, fluffed his shot, and it was an easier chance than the volley he had disallowed in the first half. West Ham ahead then. They lead here at Brighton by a goal to nil.
Let's get the latest from St Mary's. Southampton, Liverpool. Peter Hood.
Southampton 0, Liverpool 1, but it's a much better Liverpool side in this second half. They've been the more dangerous, they've been threatening. Angus Gunner's had to make a save as well, and also we've just seen him deny Mo Salah going through on goal on a one-on-one chance. The angle was tight, but the keeper kept it out. Milner's just put one wide as well. Much different Liverpool. They lead through Sané's goal. It's Southampton 0, Liverpool 1.
Damien, were you ever in one of those extended 38 40-man squads and not actually make the training camp?
No, not actually. Trapattoni never used to name them massive squads, did he? But I do remember a couple of occasions when I was at Ipswich and I got a call on like a Wednesday morning for a game on a Saturday. Can you come in quickly? And you're like scooting out from training and then you're hopping on a flight from Stansted in and you're joining up late. So I don't think Trapattoni ever used to name those extended man squads. I don't think that was ever his thing, to be honest with you.
Troy Parrott said dream come true of his place in the 40-man squad. We've spoken about this before. I remember interviewing Conor Hourihane when he was named in one of these 38-man squads the day the squad was named, and he gave the interview you'd expect of a dream come true, everything I've ever wanted, and then the 23-man squad was named and there was no sign of Conor Hourihane.
But at least Conor Hourihane has played for Ireland. Chris Forrester was in one, Richie Towell I think, Adam Rooney. I can think of a couple of others who took the congratulations of being in that big extended squad and then never made it here.
Because I guess, listen, we work in the business, so we're fully aware of how this works. If you're just flicking on the TV and you see your mate or your relation's name in the Ireland squad, you assume they're in the Ireland squad.
You text them. I mean, it's leading the bulletins yesterday. I mean, it's fair enough. You know, Troy Parrott's been called into the Ireland squad. I saw it was on the BBC website. I mean,
it's very unusual for a player so young to be around, squads. So it is quite newsworthy, and we've had so little to be excited about. But I do have a lot of hope for him and Obafemi that at least one of them could prove to be a very good player. And I certainly see no harm in having them involved in some shape or form around the squad and bringing some kind of bright spark to it and educating them as well in terms of what's needed for Ireland.
I suppose I wonder what Stephen Kenny's approach to it would be. That they actually have a big qualifier against Armenia on the 6th. Now, if I was there, like if Parrott's fit, and this is a big if, and if Spurs were okay with it, I wouldn't be absolutely shocked if Ireland play Switzerland on the Thursday night, play Armenia on the Friday night in the 21s. The 21s are away in Sweden on the Tuesday. Wouldn't be a massive surprise if Parrott played with the 21s in the Armenia game, and then all being well, didn't go to Sweden and maybe was kept around for the Bulgaria match. That might be the way it plays out.
Yeah. Damien does make a good point about the interest that will be there, though, because we all know the amount of coverage that the Ireland team gains. He can't just come in quietly, really, and train with the senior team. There'll be an expectation that he'll do a press conference.
People will call for him to come on in the Switzerland game.
Like if it's 0-0, why aren't we giving these young players a chance? Someone a bit. We know he's going to be calling for him to come on.
I do take your point on about Wales. Definitely, that's maybe something that you need to think about if you're going to go that route. And that is a valid point. It's just that judging by mixed tone there in the interview you played, I don't think he's going to be anywhere near the squad.
I don't know though. Is there not a potential that he'd rather fast track an under-21 campaign that ultimately Spurs will have no interest in playing? Like, we're letting you go to play under-21s when we prize you as we do. I'd say Stephen Kenny would be fortunate if he gets much use out of him.
But did it not have to release him for under-21 qualifiers?
No, but you know what I mean. Like, they can kind of, certainly with injuries, you know the way these things can be kind of maybe manicured a bit. But if he's as good as everyone thinks he is, I'm not sure he'll have much, if any, under-21 involvement. Maybe I'm wrong.
We don't know. We'll see what happens.
Did anyone see him in these pre-season games? Because I know, speaking to when Jack Byrne came in,
Oh, wait.
Hang on.
Oh, it's not the prize-winning music. Not the prize-winning music. It's the Patrick Bamford music.
Oh, no.
Patrick Bamford has scored a second for Leeds.
I'm not sure.
What's going to happen if Rice scores as well? We're going to play Morrissey.
No, Rice is gone. Just play God Save the Queen for Rice. He's done.
Oh, he's
over.
Played God Save the Queen. Do we have
we get that band that plays at the England games to come up with a nice little ditty.
God.
But again, it's a pre-season game.
No. But to me, I don't really care about that. If you go to watch, who do they play? They play proper teams in pre-season. They play Real Madrid today.
But it's pre-season, so they're not proper teams.
Grant. So if you go along and see him and he's comfortable at that level, albeit in pre-season, they're still trying to get to match fitness he's playing against players that our general Irish players just don't play against, and he's playing in a team. We don't have any top 6 players. And he's on the cusp, where at least he's close.
Who was it? Darren Gibson, the last Irish player to play for a top 6 team in the Premier League?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm trying to think in terms of
Robbie Keane at Liverpool, the last to come through the FAI system to play for a top 6 team.
Kelleher's not a million miles off, probably.
Or Robbie Keane Spurs, sorry, the last.
Yeah, I kind of do. Yeah.
As Dan says though, Mick has. Take the Gibraltar games out, and we have 6 relevant games in this group, one of which we've already played.
And maybe that's the difference with Wales and, say, Ethan Ampadu coming in Ryan Giggs' first game in charge.
Absolutely.
And Giggs is thinking, I could maybe build my team over the next 4 or 5 years around him.
He's going to be very lucky.
Woodburn did come on and play in an important game, though. Did he come on and score for Wales in a big enough qualifier?
Woodburn had played for Liverpool, had he?
Yeah, not to any great degree.
Mick has a brief.
It's the only parallel I can think of.
Kenny's going to have the kind of benefit of having those Nations League games where he'll have far more scope to at least toggle around his options, and Mick unfortunately doesn't have that. He has a brief and he has to achieve the brief.
Damien, before we let you go, maybe you can answer this question from Bill in Newbridge. I've always been curious to find out from Johnny as to what type of footballer he would like to say he is. Does he consider himself a Pirlo, a Gerrard, a Gattuso, or is he just pure shite? Asks Bill in Newbridge. Damien, how would you describe from your knowledge of Johnny Ward over the past couple of weeks? Could you describe, to put him into footballer terms, who would he be?
Jesus.
I can go to a couple of goals while you're thinking about that, because there have been a couple of goals in the Premier League. You think about that. Carrow Road, Norwich Newcastle, a second goal for Andrew Shield.
Norwich City 2, Newcastle United 0. A second goal for Timu Pukki, having scored in the first half with a volley. This time he sidestepped the defender on 18 yards and drilled a right footer into the bottom corner. Cracking goal. But for the second time, it's come just a minute or so after Newcastle had a great chance. Key with the corner, whipped in, Dummett's header, fine save from Krul in the Norwich goal. And it's now Norwich 2, Newcastle 0.
And a goal at the Amex, Brighton against West Ham, Richard Newman.
Brighton and Hove Albion 1, West Ham United 1. The visitors' lead lasted a matter of minutes. Albion have the goal they deserve, and so does Leandro Trossard. It was a long ball up top, and Glenn Murray held the ball up really well, laid the ball off to Trossard. He has his time to pick his shot from the edge of the box and fire the ball into the bottom corner past Lucas Fabianski. It's Brighton 1, West Ham 1.
Yeah, by all accounts, a deserved equaliser for Brighton. So Sadio Mane gave Liverpool just the lead just before half-time. What's going on now between Southampton and Liverpool? Peter Hood.
Southampton 0, Liverpool 1. Liverpool still lead through that Sadio Mane goal at the end of the first half, and they threaten to go further ahead. A much better performance from the European Super Cup winners in the second half. A great piece of play by Mane down the left-hand side. The perfect cross from Nino. He sliced the shot wide when he should have scored. But Danny Ings has come on for Southampton, and he's just put a shot over the bar. There's still life in the home side yet. It's Southampton 0, Liverpool 1.
And to Goodison Park, Everton, Watford, Ian Brown.
Still Everton 1, Watford 0, almost 2-0. Richarlison with a header at the near post, but that was off target. Though Everton have been rather sloppy in the second period, giving the ball away numerous times. They were almost caught on the break when Troy Deeney was through, but Jordan Pickford, the England goalkeeper, made the save with his face. So it's still Everton 1, Watford 0.
All our football coverage brought to you by Paddy Power. It is the big question right now that everyone wants to know the answer to. Johnny Ward as a footballer, who would he be? Damien?
I would probably say, Kovacic at Chelsea. He's a good player and you think he's doing well. But if he wasn't there, you wouldn't really notice anyway, would you?
You've actually commentated on him playing in the Irish Heart Foundation game. Do you remember him playing?
That was the old Terra Firma.
Again?
No.
Forgettable. I wouldn't even know he was there.
He's industrious.
I was going to be more complimentary.
I mean, that's a disgrace. That's like saying, what's your man's girlfriend? She's grand. That's a horrible thing to say. Industrious.
They are industrious.
It's like the lad who delivers the post. He delivers the post. Fair play to him. He got the post delivered today.
Get around the park.
Get around the park.
Yeah. Gets around the park. But
I was going to be more complimentary. I was going to say he was a sort of, Cantona-like figure.
What? No.
There's the arrogance.
Absolutely
Definite
no
arrogance. At times there's brilliance, but also a definite opportunity he's going to do something absolutely crazy.
Well, that's personality, then, you're talking
That's
about.
what I'm talking about. That's what we're judging, not his actual footballing ability.
I wouldn't actually.
He's not industrious in life, to be fair.
I'd be an intelligent footballer, whatever about in general life. I'd have a good game intelligence. But Damien, I don't know.
You have a good first time pass under any circumstances.
Damien can expect a lot more references to daily. He can expect a lot more Daily Mount references as well.
This Daily Mount thing, the gloves are off for this thing. It's right off the bat at the top of the show. So. I'm coming out swinging here, lads.
We must get the footage.
Yeah.
For next week.
Don't.
We'll get an old Astro game going soon. And
we do a Phoenix from the Flames.
Yeah.
We'll probably get Daniel Kelly to come in. He probably would do it, but wouldn't be fair.
Daniel Kelly. Oh yeah. He was brilliant last night.
He was starring for Bohs that night.
I wouldn't mind playing him in Astro because he just wouldn't have enough room to show his unbelievable pace. But I'm very disappointed actually in all this. I was going to praise Dan as well. Dan is if I were picking a team, and you have to pick the team at the start of your lunch break, whatever. Dan would always be on my team if I could pick him, because he's a very good finisher and he's left and right foot.
No, but see, I was trying to go with your personality, not your actual football. The listeners don't care about your actual footballing ability on five-a-side.
Then I'd be shy. Just, you mentioned Paddy Power there, right? Just on this, what odds do you think Spurs are? What odds do you think Man City are at home Spurs today? You're making a point that they're not going to be.
I would say 3-1 on.
They're pretty much that. So that's where they're playing the third best team in the league, and they're 3-1 on. So that's how lopsided the Premier League is at the moment. They're at home to Spurs, who are a seriously good side, should have been the Champions League final last year, and they're 3-1 on.
Second goal at St Mary, Southampton, Liverpool, Peter Hood.
Southampton 0, Liverpool 2. Roberto Firmino has doubled the visitors' lead with a well-taken goal. Good close control as he went across the penalty area, evaded a couple of challenges and hit it back across Angus Gunn to double the lead. It looks as though Liverpool will go temporarily top tonight. Southampton 0, Liverpool 2.
This is the boring Premier League, unfortunately. It's going to be Man City and Liverpool will win virtually all their games, and you'll have this race for Europe.
Not the opinion of Nathan was not going to get to 90 points.
As somebody
every Saturday.
Somebody tweeted.
Premier League coverage.
I must reference the tweet here. Kevin Lydon. The way Johnny pounced on that bet, he is getting value.
Well, we'll see.
And my record of having personal bets with off the ball people, namely Dan, on Man City Liverpool related matters, is 1 from 1.
Well done, you. Goal of Villa Park, Villa Bournemouth, Tom Gale.
Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 2, and it's the debutant Douglas Luiz with a screamer from 25 yards. He got the ball from Captain Grealish, found his spot, picked it top right-hand corner. Remember, he was at fault for the second Bournemouth goal, but as it stands, it's Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 2.
How screwed are Newcastle going to be this season? Is that not the Ashley?
How long will Steve Bruce last?
You got to have sympathy for him as well. The Ashley stuff is a complete disaster for him. I don't know what's the right.
The Ashley stuff is the best thing that's ever happened to him. It's the only reason he's there.
Yeah, the problem with Bruce is that the fans weren't he doesn't have any credit in the bank at all. Rafa could withstand that type of defeat today because they were almost grateful to have him to a degree, whereas Bruce won't get time at all if things are going bad.
The reason we're saying that is that Norwich have gone 3-0 up against Newcastle, a hat-trick for Timo Pukki, who's now on to 4 goals in 2 games. We need to take an ad break. Damien, thanks as always.
Thanks, lads. No worries.
Thanks very much there, Damien.
Thanks, Damien.
No hard feelings. It's all fine. We'll all move on with our lives. We've all been insulted in some way.
If I were to judge Damien, what would he be like as a player based on what he's how he's performed and off the ball? He would be a real hard.
By the way.
Huh?
I'm still on the line, so
yeah, no, I know that. Yeah.
He'd be Timo Pukki.
He would basically be Damien Delaney.
He's gone to a different level and he's just started flying out of the blocks.
He'd be a hard centre back that would basically do the job, and he'd be reliable, but he'd take no shit.
I suspect after today that Damien will be very keen to get involved in that 5-a-side game and probably be on the opposite team to you and me.
I've played AstroTurf with some of the best players that have come out of this country, I would argue, talent-wise. Owen Garvin particularly, Kevin Kilban, Stephen O'Donnell, Alan Cawley even, Daniel McDonnell.
No. Where's this going?
Do you let ordinary people play in your... So say you don't get enough famous people to play in your 5-a-side, does it still go ahead?
It does, but in fairness, if you do bring along the likes of Kev or that, it just everyone raises their game 100% basically. So we're still shite, but we're slightly less shite.
All right, we got to take an ad break.
Off the Ball on News Talk. The Pat Kenny Show.
Next Thursday, August 22nd, we'll be broadcasting from the Marker Hotel in Dublin as part of News Talk's Food Fest with thanks to Deliveroo delivering food freedom. Gareth Mullins, executive head chef at the Marker, will explain why an expensive steak should not be a treat but the norm. We'll do a booze-free, booze-blind taste test with mixologist Oisin Davis and much more besides. So, if you'd like to be part of the live audience, simply register now at newstalk.com/events. Tickets are free but limited.
The Pat Kenny Show.
Live from the Marker Hotel in Dublin next Thursday.
On News Talk.
Exciting afternoons with Harvey Norman. Bring the cinema home with an ultra-high-definition smart TV and surround sound from Harvey Norman. The cinema experience with no queues and no trailers.
Go, Harvey, go!
Dreaming of summertime, a warm summer breeze and the evening song. The Sleeve Russell Hotel in County Cavan have superb family packages, giving you the best fun-filled holiday in an enchanting world of affordable luxury. Lakeside walks, tennis, gym, spa, or a round of golf on the PGA National Course. And our Kids Club allows you the time to wine and dine in our award-winning restaurants. For more, phone 049 952 6444. Tee off your summer at sleeverussell.ie.
Twix or Mars McFlurry, Twix or Mars McFlurry, Twix or Mars McFlurry. Hang on, that man's wallet. It's the exact same shade as the nougat pieces in a Mars McFlurry. A Mars McFlurry, please.
The Twix and Mars McFlurries are now at McDonald's. A deliciously difficult decision. Available until the 24th of September.
When it comes to a burst pipe, a phone is the best tool to sort it. Just ring Liberty Insurance. Their 24-hour emergency home repair service has me covered without affecting my no-claims bonus. Switch now and get up to 5 weeks free on libertyinsurance.ie. Liberty Insurance. Ready for the real world.
Cover for up to €260 per call-out, maximum 4 call-outs per year. 5 weeks free applies to new home policies only and equals a 10% discount. Maximum discount of €40 for buildings, €15 for contents and €55 for buildings and contents combined. Subject to minimum premiums and applied before optional covers. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Liberty Seguros, Compañía de Seguros, Araya Seguros, S.A.A. trading as Liberty Insurance is authorised by the General Director of Insurance and Pension Funds in Spain and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules.
School seems long, but it's only 13 years? Kids, it'll fly. You won't even notice it. But parents, you will notice the back-to-school savings you get at Lidl. Like sandwich slims for 65 cent, delicious chicken sandwich fillers just $1.49, and our healthy snack size fruit and veg range from only 89 cent. Come on, September. Lidl, more for you.
Be confident in the next car you buy. At Dundalk, you can find cars from over 1,000 trusted dealerships nationwide. Now you can search for cars with warranties and monthly finance options to meet your budget. Dundalk, Ireland's largest car showroom in the palm of your hand.
HPV
stands for human papillomavirus.
It's a really common virus
that can cause genital warts
and cancer in women
and in men.
The good news is the HPV vaccine can protect us from the HPV virus.
And this September, the vaccine will be given to both boys and girls in first year of secondary school.
Get the facts on hpv.ie, approved by the World Health Organization.
Get the facts, get the vaccine.
Protect our future.
From the HSE.
I hear you some wiring needs a fixing, ma'am. The name's Buzz, on account of my work.
No chance.
Not all cowboys ride horses. All Safe Electric registered electrical contractors must give you a certificate of completion that shows their work meets approved standards. Find one nearby on safeelectric.ie.
The Off the Ball Open tees off in Abu Dhabi this November 17th to 23rd. Join us with return flights from Dublin, 5 nights in a 4-star hotel, golf on 2 championship courses, Gala Awards dinner, Peter Lorry Golf Clinic, and a live Off the Ball roadshow, all for just €1,750. Kevin Kilban and Kieran Donaghy will be there too. The Off the Ball Open, Abu Dhabi this November. Book by August 18th to avail of this early bird offer at CassidyTravel.ie. Deposit of €250 required. Terms and conditions apply.
Off the Ball. This is News Talk.
All right, welcome back to Saturday's Off the Ball. Liverpool 2-0 up against Southampton. There's 10 minutes left in that game. Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino with the goals at St Mary's. No Shane Long in the squad for Southampton. It seems no injury for
No, I
Shane
don't
Long,
think
which is
so.
obviously worrying for his future with Southampton, but also with everything Mick McCarthy seems to be saying, regardless of whether it's a 17-year-old or an older player, if they're not playing first team football, he doesn't seem overly interested.
No, I think with certain players, he wouldn't be as worried. Like someone like James McLean, now he is playing, but if he wasn't, he's a very fit lad. I don't think he'd be concerned. I'm not sure if Hendrick he's that worried about. But obviously with some others it's going to be a problem. No minutes for Long, no minutes for Robbie Brady, who is injured.
Jeff Hendrick as well.
Yeah, Hendrick unused sub into 2 matches. So yeah, there's a couple of others as well. Callum O'Dowda is completely out of favour. Bristol
What's
City
going on
is-
there? So he's
Well, basically what happened with Callum O'Dowda was
he wanted away.
I asked McCarthy about yes, he didn't deny it as such, and I think to be fair, it's pretty commentary. I think he tried to leave in January in the summer. I don't think it's gone down too well with management, and I think he's in the last year of his deal, so he might have to sit and suffer, and he's not going to be high up their list of priorities at the moment.
They're playing QPR today, and Ryan Manning has effectively started the season playing every game at left back, which is going to be very interesting because the way fullbacks have evolved into, I mean, if you were to have an argument now, what's a fullback there for? It's nearly 50-50 attacking and 50-50 defending. Ryan Manning's an outrageously good technical player, and he seems to have the position for himself at the moment. It's going to be very interesting to see what season he has, because he's a player that's a lot of people in Galway would have had huge high hopes for when he went over to England, and it's kind of been a bit of a mixed bag for him.
That's a very risky game for Callum O'Dowda, because if he doesn't get back in at Bristol City, if this standoff continues, he could end up going 15 months without playing a match.
Well, yeah, I just, you'd imagine it's not going to come to that. Like, he did start their first game of the season and then got dropped, not even on the bench the following week. Now, obviously, there would have been a transfer window in between. Was there an expectation something
That he
might
might
have
go.
happened? Possibly. I mean, all they can do now is that there might still be a loan window open at championship level, but
only to below championship level.
yeah, so I mean, he's going to have to just get back in there. And I think like managers will be pragmatic as well. Like, he was one of their best players last season, but clearly at the moment, I mean, they've won today, or they're 2-0 up today, Bristol City. So they might bring him back in a crisis. But if not, it's bad timing, because I think he could be very important for Ireland, but he's not playing, so I don't think he's going to figure in the matches unless he sorts something out quickly.
All our football coverage brought to you by Paddy Power. Let's bring you that third goal at Carrow Road. First game back in the Premier League for Norwich, and they are home game back in the Premier League for Norwich, and they're certainly enjoying it. They're playing Newcastle. Andrew Cheal.
Norwich City 3, Newcastle United 0. Norwich in complete control. They've been lying deep, happy to let Newcastle have the ball 30-40 yards from goal, and looking dangerous on the break, and so it proved when they broke out. Newcastle completely devoid of defenders in the centre of their defence, and Pookie just sidestepped his man and riveted past the goalkeeper with his left foot. It's Norwich 3, Newcastle 0.
4 goals in 2 games for Timu Pukki, who scored 29 goals in the Championship for Norwich last season. He's not a young player, he's 29. He's been around the block. Good finisher.
Jesus.
Dreadful job.
No? Where does he rank in the best Finnish players to play in the Premier League already after 2 games? Litmanen.
What a player.
Sami Hupia.
An absolute legend.
Mikkel Forsell.
Yeah. Definitely right up there.
And your Finnish players. Antti Niemi, yeah, he's your keeper. You got a good 5-a-side team there.
That's all we want.
That's all we needed.
That's the end of that segment. Finish 5-a-side team. Done.
Let's move through the other nations as well.
Just to keep us going all summer long.
On this game later as well, if Man City happen to win 3 or 4-0 today, what's the reaction of people who are trying to promote the Premier League, and they're like, so if Man City are going to hockey Spurs, like, what's our narrative for the rest of the season? Are we just going to try to make something seem like significant when there's basically no debate here?
At least there's 2 teams, John.
Only there was some example of, in this studio, people feeling that the title was done very early in the season, but only for that not to be the case.
Seriously,
I think we've deleted it from the system.
Over.
Like, this is what this is building up to, Johnny. That if Manchester City win today, you think it's game over.
No, but I think Liverpool are going to struggle to...
Well, speaking of Liverpool struggling, Johnny, there's been a goal at St Mary's. Peter Hood.
Ooh. Southampton 1, Liverpool 2. A dreadful mistake by the Liverpool keeper, Adrian, gifting the goal to the former Liverpool man, Danny Ings. A casual back pass, and the keeper took far too long and hit it straight against Danny Ings, who instinctively turned it in to leave a score of Southampton 1, Liverpool 2.
A few jittery minutes for Liverpool here now, just to get through this, because they obviously are catapulting the situation with their goalkeeper, and You do think even it's 2 games in, but it would be a bit of a body blow if they didn't win this game.
Well, particularly because you sort of thought it flipped completely in the Super Cup final where Adrian gave away the penalty, and you're thinking this is going to be a nervy month for Liverpool. And then he ends up being the absolute hero, and you think, oh, well, he's just going to cruise through this. But again, if he's made what sounds like a sort of Alisson type mistake, where there's that slow back pass and they just take that a little bit too long out of it. But it does mean it's going to be a nervy ending. Danny Ings, who started on the bench in that game for Southampton, has scored. You mentioned the late game. It is a huge game between two, you would say, of the 3 title contenders in Manchester City and Spurs.
Spurs a title contender?
If City
they're the
dip,
third best team.
If City dip, you would think they are a title contender.
So they need. How many points will they finish behind Liverpool this season?
I'll have to think about that during the team news from Darren Stanich.
Sergio Aguero is back in the starting 11 for City. He came off the bench to score at West Ham last weekend. That's one of 4 changes by Guardiola. Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Otamendi, the other players to come in. Spurs made just 1 change from the side that beat Villa. In comes Christian Eriksen. He came off the bench in that one. It's Lucas Moura that drops down. Ali and Sessegnon injured. Son suspended, but new signing Lo Celso is on the bench. At the Etihad, it's Manchester City against Tottenham.
Yeah, and that's a 5:30 start at the Etihad Stadium. So just to run you through the 2 teams for City: Ederson in goals, back 4 of Walker, Otamendi, Laporte and Zinchenko. In midfield, it's Rodri, Gundogan and De Bruyne, and then the front 3 of Sterling and Bernardo Silva just in behind Sergio Aguero. And then for Spurs, Hugo Lloris in goals. They're back 4, Walker, Peters, Sanchez, Alderweireld and Rose. In midfield, it's Winks, Ndombele and Sissoko, Lamela and Eriksen, who gets the start in behind Harry Kane.
Every time I think of Eriksen now, I think of your attempt to kind of get the answer to him, and I was thinking at that stage there's no chance he's at Spurs next season.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of awkward moments where you're like,
well, I kind of thought as he walked away, I thought, you know what, he's shown me through his eyes that he'll definitely stay for a few weeks of the season.
Yeah,
that was my reading.
His body language said that all over.
That was my reading.
Certainly easy to say that after.
So we're heading for full time in all these Premier League games. Liverpool 2-1 up after Danny Ings scored, but want to just switch attention for the moment because in the first of our #OneToughJob series with Dovemen UK, we caught up with Peter O'Mahony about the dual role that he plays, being a dad and one of Ireland's greats. Here's a clip of that interview. It's available right now on all our social channels. It's well worth checking out, and it's up on offtheball.com as well.
International rugby is pretty much about being uncomfortable, isn't it? It's just so difficult. I don't think it's got any easier either, even from the first one. You know, the stress. The stress levels are a different level again when it comes to international rugby, and it certainly hasn't got any easier. You know, again, every game is, you know.
When you say stress, more pressure.
Nerves and pressure, yeah. And I remember meeting my old fella before the game, the Shelburne, and I was sick with nerves, like white as a sheet. I was in a bad place, like.
Yeah, some really honest stuff in that interview with Peter O'Mahony, with Adrian and Quinny. Stay tuned for the other 2 parts in our series as we find out how some of the country's most celebrated professionals manage to care for every position. Part 2 will be Andrew Porter and his dad Ernie. We are sitting wrong. Did you see the way Peter O'Mahony sits? Like, Peter O'Mahony's got pretty big biceps to start with, yet he's sitting like this, so
the posture is right.
Exactly. So you just need to push down a little bit when you're on camera.
Goal for Owen Doyle as well, who just signed for Swindon the other day, and he's gotten a late equaliser in Exeter. So one of
good tangent there from John.
One of a couple of
Nathan's making a very serious point about posture, and can you just take us off on an Owen Doyle League 2 goal update?
That's what we do in a
Owen Doyle has set up. He has set up an app to do with childcare. Like Owen Doyle is
Nathan, thinking, how will this benefit me?
Wait a second now. You think we should get him on the show? There could be a discount.
There could be some sort of deal. Yeah, so Owen Doyle has obviously been knocking around the lower leagues for most of his time. Ex-Shamrock Rovers and Sligo. He's done reasonably well for himself, I would imagine, in football. He got a big move to Cardiff. Remember, he scored all those goals in Chesterfield. Got a big move to Cardiff. But there's a bit of publicity for it during the week. He's sort of he's obviously looking at life after football and set up something. Yeah.
And can you fill us in on the details?
Do you mind if I just read up on it in more detail?
You do that.
But
that could be next week. It'll fill half an hour. Possibly. Maybe we'll get him on the show and he can explain.
It's a free plug for his product
after his goals this weekend.
Your posture thing is very important. Though. A lot of people spend too much time on their of the day on the computer or the laptop, whatever. And they're
I'm not worried about any of that. I'm just saying to look good.
Oh, like it's all aesthetic.
Peter O'Mahony sitting there, so...
You're worried about your back and your hips.
No, I'm just looking at Peter O'Mahony thinking, there's a man who's showing off his bulging biceps very well. So I'm just saying there's an opportunity there, Johnny, for yourself.
The future, you probably want to go to some updates, but the future of childcare is here. With Lily's before and after school childcare. It's an app designed for parents to keep track of what their little ones are up to. So basically, it gives working parents some peace of mind by enabling them to stay connected to their children's activities throughout the day.
So you're trying to confront the evil of children on smartphones by kind of embracing it.
Yeah.
So does this mean when they're at creche, the creche will fill in what they're eating?
So
and
things are happening with their children.
Toilet.
Their parents get a ping to their phone. Ping
To their
phone. They get notifications. If the parents are running a few minutes late, they can message one of the staff members through the app. So there you go. Yeah.
It's all about
to be made in Paranoid Parents.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
There's a podcast on it as well.
Lovely image of your little one's first birthday, was it there?
It was. It was my daughter's first birthday yesterday.
And the two lads.
Two lads delighted with life after watching Dundalk. I was explaining to Dan on...
that you weren't saying, do you know who I am, when you were trying to get into the ground?
I was just making sure all my children got in to watch Dundalk play, and I was making... my youngest lad is a very passionate football supporter. Within the last
He's a Rovers fan.
Well, they're both Rovers fans.
Yeah.
Well, but they flipped to Dundalk then. However, he was very upset by Dundalk's performance and cursed Dundalk to high heaven for the majority of the second half. And no matter how much I explained that Dundalk were the best team in Ireland, he still couldn't accept that Slovan Bratislava were that much better. And it's hard to explain to a 6-year-old why and how Dundalk could be the best team in Ireland, yet are getting beaten.
Slovan Bratislava weren't that much better, to my mind. I think Dundalk, if they had that tie back, they'd have a reasonable chance. I think they didn't really perform of the two legs.
They certainly didn't perform in an attacking sense.
They've scored, 2 goals in Europe?
The amount of possession they had inside their half and created very little.
They also were ridiculously open when they lost the ball in the first half. They approached the game far too gung-ho, I thought. It was like, remember, that
was my sense, that actually they went for broke right from the start of the game, but actually they were only 1-0 down.
You just make sure, as best you can, don't concede. Like, they were 1-0 down against Bate after being absolutely battered in the first leg. They were 1-0 down against Slovan after they weren't battered in the first leg. They created chances, and I thought they were very disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have thought, actually, if you're 1-0 down still, if it's scoreless on the night with half an hour to go, you're happy out if you're Dundalk. You take that.
I mean, the 2 goals they conceded. Actually, the first goal at the game looked like a brilliant counter-attack, but I sort of watched it back on the highlights, and actually there was time for Dundalk to recover as well. It was well executed, but the second goal was dreadful. But yeah, no, you're right. They had a lot of decent possession, but they didn't actually necessarily make use of it.
Stephen O'Donnell obviously retired, and it was maybe a 50-50 call to some extent. He was massively missing in Europe, I think, in general, and so was a fit Robbie Benson. And I think they were their main problems. Their midfield hasn't functioned properly at all in Europe this season, and it has been that they're missing those key players, and even other players then being injured as well.
My kids are now all in on Shamrock Rovers, though.
Oh yeah.
Well, in fairness to Rovers,
it would be the first.
Yeah, but you look at the players they have now, and you're like, they're going to be bloody exciting to watch. They played 3-5-2, I think, last night. They've Graham Burke, McAniff, Jack Byrne, Dan Carr.
Available yet?
Not yet. His hamstring's taken a while.
Got to give Dan a bit of kudos for one of the weirder transfer stories. Dan Carr off to Cyprus, and it's all confirmed.
It's all happening. Yeah.
Full time starting to come in from the Premier League. Let's go to the Amex. Brighton against West Ham. Richard Newman. Yeah, it certainly sounds like Brighton are going to be entertaining to watch this season. That is 4 points from them for their opening 2 matches. Just a reminder that Off the Ball in association with Cadbury's are bringing you another monster Premier League roadshow this September the 4th. Gary Neville, one of the guests at the Bord Gáis Energy Theatre, to reminisce about his playing days and to look ahead to the new season. Tickets went on sale yesterday morning. It's already completely sold out, but we will be giving away some tickets on air over the next few days and weeks ahead of that. Let's go to Carrow Road. What a day for Norwich against Newcastle. Andrew Cheal. Park Live.
Yeah.
Good music.
Tune.
Let's go to St Mary's because the full-time whistle has gone. Nervy finish for Liverpool. Southampton against Liverpool and Peterhood.
Thanks to goals by Sadio Mane at the end of the first half, a curling right foot shot and then another good right foot shot from Firmino in the second half. They were sailing in the second half, but Danny Ings was gifted a goal by a keeping error by Adrian, who had been the hero of the first half, but it's finished in Liverpool's favour after a nerve-jangling finish. Southampton 1, Liverpool 2.
So after the opening couple of games, and as it stands, Liverpool and Arsenal, the only two teams to have won their opening two games, but obviously a lot more to come in the Premier League between now and Monday night when Manchester United make the trip to Wolves. Tomorrow on Off the Ball, we'll have full live commentary of Chelsea against Leicester. That one at Stamford Bridge from 4:30. Dave McIntyre and Gary Breen covering that game. We'll have Vincent Hogan and Colm Keys on the pay-per-view, but of course the All-Ireland hurling final, the main focus of our attention, and it is the only place to hear Tommy Walsh, who will be live on the radio from 1 o'clock tomorrow. Joe and Stephen Doyle in studio as well. We're on air from 1 to 7 every single Saturday afternoon. Full-time whistle gone at Goodison. Everton against Watford. Ian Brown.
You can just imagine, the days when the minor games used to be broadcast in the Irish language and people put on the radio because they couldn't understand Irish. You can just imagine a lot of people putting on the hurling tomorrow and turning on to listen to Tommy Walsh's take on the game, because it doesn't get much better than that.
No, he'll be on air from 1 o'clock tomorrow. Lads, thank you. As always, we're running down through all the results just after 5 o'clock. We'll be back every single Saturday afternoon. Damien Delaney joining us as well. But we're all about the hurling final tomorrow.
How do you call it, Nathan?
From 1 o'clock. Kilkenny by 3. Doesn't care.
Tip by 3 or 4.
All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Good luck.